What's going on, everybody? It is day 3 of the NFL draft. I am your host, Scott Bogman. Follow me on Twitter at Bogman Sports. I'm joined by Fantasy Hockey Life, Jesse Severe. What's going on, Jesse? How you doing?
Hey. Doing good, man. Excited. We'll talk a little bit of NFL
Yeah.
draft today.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Xavier Trish here again, Father of the Year. Look at that. Baby Zoe in tow. So, yeah, we are ready to talk some NFL draft. I'm excited. I'm going to stream the 4th and the 5th round. These guys are going to stick around at, for as long as they can. I have invited a couple other people as well who might pop in. So, we are going to have a great time here. So, pumped about this draft. I love the Steelers pick so far. Our resident Vikings fan, Jesse, what do you think about the Vikings so far?
I'm pretty happy. I'm skeptical about JJ McCarthy, but they got their guy. I guess this is the guy that the offense thinks that they can coach up. We've got the weapons, so if he can come in and be competent. And I kind of liked jumping back in and getting the guy from Alabama in that first round. But like the Vikings, I took yesterday off from the draft, so I'm catching up now to all that.
Excellent. And Xavier Trish, the only Falcons fan in the world that liked the Michael Penix selection. That is very surprising, I thought.
Fair enough. Yeah. Called that in January that I wanted him at 8. Honestly, didn't think it was going to happen, but ecstatic that it has. I've had to explain myself till I'm blue in the face for the last 48 hours on why I love the pick. But like I said last night in Spaces, I think I'd give the Falcons so far a B-, C+, right around there. I felt like the Rook trade up was a bit of a reach there. Would have wanted Johnny Newton in that situation. But other than that, I love the Braylon Trice pick. And today is kind of one of those situations where they could have a B+ draft depending on day 3 or a C draft depending on day 3. They can move a lot of spots for me today.
Yeah, I know that, like Fantasy Pros not broadcasting for round 3. And I did have to disagree with our boy, Pat Fitzmaurice, who said, I don't know, day 3, that's a bit much, man. And I said, that's when the fantasy guys go, though. That's when the running backs go. That's when so many of the wide receivers go. So, look, I get it. It's day 3 moves fast. It's hard to analyze as quick as it goes. So I understand, but I'm having too much fun with this draft. And in the last years, broadcasting too, the Steelers have had unbelievable drafts. I couldn't be happier with Omar Khan so far in his tenure, replacing Kevin Colbert, who is, that's a tough, replacing Kevin Colbert is a tough deal. He was in Pittsburgh for a long time. So, we're all working through it here. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can say this. I'm going to be just like a minute behind you guys on the picks. I don't know why. I have gotten rid of DirecTV finally. So now I have Fubo and I'm running it through a Roku. And for whatever reason, it's like a minute and a half behind everybody else. So you guys feel free to announce the picks as you see them, unless it's the Steelers. That's the only one I want to see live.
What pick do you guys have in round 4? Do you have it for round?
119.
Okay, 119.
So pick 19 in this round. So we'll see how this goes. But let's get Jesse, your take on a couple of rankings here. So let's start at the QBs. Let's go for Dynasty. I have Caleb 1, I have Jaden 2, but I have heard I think our boy John Lobb put JJ McCarthy, your guy, at 2 ahead of Jaden Daniels because, look, no team passed more than the Minnesota Vikings last season. So how are you ranking the QBs? Drake May was picked 3rd overall, and he is low on a lot of these lists. Bo Nix and Michael Penix were both first-round picks, but both seem to maybe have some time to wait, specifically Penix. Bo Nix just has to beat out Zach Wilson, which doesn't seem like the hardest thing to accomplish these days. So your thoughts on early QB rankings?
Well, I think McCarthy and Nix, as you say, are getting the bump from the potential for early opportunity. And being drafted in the first half of the first round, you're probably going to get the opportunity. Penix being probably the exception right now, although I'm kind of with Xavier. I like Penix. I've always liked his performance. May seems to be, is it the Matt Corral effect? Do we all kind of just maintain that bias that these North Carolina guys who kind of maybe don't hang at the top the way that we expected? Jaden Daniels surpassed him. There's some sort of bias. And plus, New England is just such a dumpster fire right now. And nobody can imagine somebody who's playing at a skill position being good in a New England Patriots uniform, I feel like, because Tom Brady just sort of elevated a bunch of mid-tier guys. Jaden Daniels, I think, has to be above McCarthy and these guys right now because of the running factor, right? And he's also got some weapons there, and
a Cliff Kingsbury led offense. Let's not forget that.
The only thing that I saw that really gave me pause about Daniels in the Twitter sphere was that Jaden Daniels is not good at standing in the pocket and delivering the ball, which that does concern me a little bit if he can't maintain the passing game in that way. I mean, maybe Cliff Kingsbury, the ball would just get out so fast it won't matter with him that he'll be protected long enough. So I think for me it's Caleb and then Jaden, and then it's a big mess. I've got problems with Drake May. Maybe it is McCarthy next, but McCarthy could be a big fat Mac Jones too.
I mean, there's a possibility, in every single scouting report you read about, JJ McCarthy says it feels like his evaluation is incomplete, right? That's what they say. And I completely understand that. Michigan beat the brakes off of so many teams. The dude didn't have to pass in the third and fourth quarter. So he just has fewer live reps than the other QBs here. I'll say this, Jaden Daniels, I have it too. And I understand maybe some people not having him at 2. I'm not so concerned about him sticking in the pocket and throwing the ball. The dude started like 55 games between ASU and LSU. So I think he has enough experience in the pocket. He can make all of the throws. My worry about him is staying healthy. If you're going to pass so many times in a Cliff Kingsbury offense, and this dude runs around like a crash test dummy. Like, he is the complete opposite of what Lamar is. Lamar is a avoid contact, step out of bounds if you need to, slide, and also he's just so effortlessly makes guys miss. He just doesn't get hit as often. Jaden Daniels has a little reckless abandon when he runs, and he is much more of a slight frame than Lamar, who has kind of a slight frame compared to other QBs, but obviously it makes him run like a deer. So Jaden Daniels throwing his body around there. I mean, I think the comp to RG3 is just so good, and he's going to the same team here in Washington too. Like, it's a good comp because they both are electric. They both can burn it down with athleticism, but look out for them to get banged up. Drake May is in a bad spot, right? Obviously, we expect New England to get better, but then they went and took Jalen Polk a little bit early when we know they need speed. And Polk is a good wide receiver, but he's not a speedy wide receiver. So, hope you enjoy all your 8-yard routes for all your receivers, Drake May, that are getting draped like a blanket. So, I don't know. That's I really like Drake May. He reminds me of Phillip Rivers. I think he's going to be a really good QB, but it might take a little bit in that offense. So, we'll see. Who are we thinking today? Are these like mega fans or something of every team?
Yes, I know for a fact that one of the representatives for the Falcons today will be. He's our representative from Germany, so I know him.
Yeah. Oh, it's an international fans.
I think you'll get a smattering of them, but you'll also get some guys, some super fans as well. So yeah.
I see. Interesting.
Oh,
we're
I know
we're
I'm not.
gonna get guest announcers for every pick.
Thanks.
This
Maybe.
is why people don't broadcast day 3, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
This is
I
why.
know I'm not a
It
big
takes
dynasty
forever.
guy. I know I'm not a big dynasty guy. But outside of, I would have JJ McCarthy too. I'll be honest.
You're
I think-
over Jaden.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think he's walking into maybe one of the best infrastructures possible. You know, you look at the Vikings. I think that their offensive line has been good. I think biggest thing for their offensive line is obviously health. Let's see how long it takes TJ Hawkinson to come back. But if Hawk can get back within the first 3 or 4 weeks, I really like his receiving core. Obviously, you got Jefferson, Addison, Brandon Powell really was able to shine a lot last year. And then TJ Hawkinson is one of the best tight ends in football. You added Aaron Jones, who is got to be, if not, outside of Christian McCaffrey, the second best pass catching running back in football over the last couple of years. So it's not going to be for a short of weapons at all. And I think O'Connell will give him the opportunities. Heck, he let Josh Dobbs come in a week and air it out if he wanted to. So it'll all just be based on whether or not JJ McCarthy can take advantage of all of the weapons that he has at his disposal. But I like it. Jaden, on the flip side, I think is in a place where his offensive line still isn't where it needs to be just yet. As much as I like his receiving core, the one thing he was excellent at LSU was throwing 50-50 balls. And outside of Terry McLaurin, I don't know who you're throwing those to. So, I think that, and he does have a little bit of an issue standing in and making some throws. He likes to fade to the throws he's making sometimes when he's in the pocket. So, and then lastly, I mean, look, he's going to have Micah Parsons running after him at least twice in the season. And now he has Brian Burns doing the same thing. He's going to be playing some really good front fours in the NFC East. So it could be, there could be a lot of danger there for him as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point about Josh Dobbs too. I like that you made it. Josh Dobbs comes in and just finds immediate success. So, maybe the system, even though it is a lot of throwing, I mean, look, it doesn't take a lot to say throw the ball to Justin Jefferson, does it? No.
Right.
I mean, throw the ball to Jordan Addison, throw the ball to TJ Hawkinson, hand the ball to Aaron Jones, right? So this isn't like Bryce Young's going to Carolina last season and then having, so many people in front of him. So, and having just no weapons at all.
What a segue. Way to go, Scott. It's like you've been doing that.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a little bit. So, it's all good. I see that the pick is in, but once again, so far behind. No idea who this pick is. Are you guys seeing it yet?
No,
are they
not
go
yet.
on another 100?
I'm streaming too, Scott. So I don't know.
I was behind people who were even streaming yesterday. So I don't know. I'm the opposite. Remember, Welsh used to complain because I was way ahead of him. Now I'm going to be 30 seconds behind him on every broadcast. It looks like.
Now I've got somebody walking out on stage. So is that where you are too?
I see Peter Schrager and Charles Davis and Daniel Jeremiah talking.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. Okay, cool. That pick, I guess, makes sense. He fell.
Say it. Who is it?
Jatavian Sanders.
Jatavian Sanders. There we go. Add another weapon. Day one. See, this is why we like.
Yep.
This is why we like it. It's day one. So, 4.101.
I feel like this might be the Panthers' best pick in the draft so far.
You think so? It might be.
I like Brooks. I just don't know how much what his touches will look like. This feels like a genuine, dude, you should not have slid this far. We're gonna go and get you immediately, and just has so much skill. He's a tight end. I'm not gonna say anything crazy. I like the likely comp. I think he's more athletic than him, but he should be an instant impact guy for sure. I like Jatavian Sanders in that a lot.
And, like we said, during the transition here, this team last year, no weapons. Now you've added help on the offensive line. See if we're looking at this Ourlads page, these guys are the new acquisitions. So you added Damian Lewis, Robert Hunt, 2 new guards. They still kind of need a center. There's still centers available in this draft, by the way,
for sure.
For them to possibly take. But it's the weapons. They traded for Deontay. They drafted Leggett in the first round. They added Jonathan Brooks in the second. They spent a 4th-round pick on Jatavian Sanders because the NFL stands for not for long, right? So if you don't do your job and you don't look good doing it, like Bryce Young was miserable last year, if you have another year of that, there's no excuses. It doesn't matter. You're out. So the Broncos trading up to 102 here. I'm assuming that this is going to be a whiteout. You know, the reason I say that is because Cortland Sutton wants a trade,
right?
And they don't have anything else.
Troy,
I'm a little surprised that they traded up here because they don't have a lot of picks in this draft. So
go get his running mate. Go get Troy Franklin.
yes, why is Troy Franklin still on the board? Did you guys see or hear anything? Is it just
No, I just think that I
running?
Yeah, I don't think he had a great. He didn't really do. I don't know how much he did in the pre-draft, but I don't think a lot of people were sold on him. And which that's to each their own. I think he's still an excellent receiver. But to be honest with you, a lot of receivers fell to round 4 that I was kind of surprised about. So I mean, go get Bo Nix's running mate. Look, speed and height, something you don't have right now outside of Cortland Sutton.
They still need.
I caught that subtle shade that Xavier gave to Jonathan Brooks there. By the way, Bogman, I don't know if you did.
I did. I pick and choose my Texas battles. So the reason I decided not to jump all over it was because there was another Texas guy being drafted that he was happy about. So
Troy Franklin. Yep. Boom.
Yep. Is it Troy Franklin?
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, great pick.
Go get him. Look, you want to help out your young QB? Go get the guy. Every time he saw his jersey number at Oregon, he said he's open. Go get him. I like that move for them.
That's a very, very smart move.
So
let's talk about this position for a second, since we haven't talked about it yet. So Troy Franklin drafted. Okay, so can you put him ahead? He's a 4th round pick at 102, but the opportunity is so abundant in Denver. Can you put him ahead of Ricky Pearsall? Because none of the Niners wide receivers have been traded today or yesterday. So if you're Ricky Pearsall, you're still behind Ayuk, you're still behind Debo, you're way behind CMC, and you're behind Kittle. Who is Tony Franklin behind? Cortland Sutton, yes. Who else? Josh Reynolds? I don't think so.
Yeah.
He behind Marvin Mims, who they took last year? I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah.
I think I might rather have for fantasy. I might rather have Troy Franklin.
All right, I'll play dumb here though, because I mean, isn't the gig with Oregon that we don't trust that offense as far as representing what they're going to be able to do in the pro game? So, I mean, Troy Franklin looks good on tape, but he's going to look good in the situations that Oregon puts him in. So we're really going to have to translate him going up against the AFC West defensive backs instead of what he's been doing.
That's true. And, he weaved in that gauntlet drill, which a lot of people did not like. But I mean, you're not catching 2 footballs. If this pick is not Javon Baker for the Patriots, what the hell are they doing? It needs to be Javon Baker, in my opinion. They got to add speed because it's Jalen Reagor and Tyquan Thornton as their downfield guys right now. But you could be right, Jesse. I mean, there's a reason that he fell. The NFL clearly is not as high on him as the fantasy community is. I would say that they're not as high on the Denver offense. But Bo Nix went 12, and to the same team, by the way.
Yeah.
So Bo Nix is going to have his teammate here, Troy Franklin, throwing him the ball. So they don't need to build chemistry at all. He comes in with automatic chemistry. I think it is a smart pick for the Broncos, but I mean, there's a reason guys fall this far. 4th round pick is still fairly high, but you didn't go in the top 100 picks when people were projecting you to be a borderline 1st round, 2nd round guy. So obviously the league just is not as into him. I also, Wells lost some money because of me yesterday. He asked me about Spencer Rattler going in the 2nd. And I was like, of course, 6 QBs went in the 1st. How could Spencer not go in the second? I think Pratt goes in the second too, and none of them went in the second or third.
Yep.
So I was fairly shocked by that.
This feels like a Patriots pick.
Is this an O lineman? It's not an O lineman, is it?
Yeah, it is.
It's an offensive lineman.
Yep. Out of your favorite school,
Christian Jones.
No, Layden Robinson out of A&M.
Ah, boo, gross. God, the Patriots suck.
So is he going to play left guard over Blake Brandel, or is he going to play right guard over Ed Ingram? What's he doing? What? I'm sorry, that's the Vikings. I'm sorry. I'm reading normal.
You're looking at the Vikings line.
Yes. Where's he going? Where's he going to be?
He's not going to start.
Yeah, like he's not going to start unless they're kicking Owenwu to tackle again.
I guess maybe that is a possibility.
Yeah, you push him to guard. Yeah, I guess.
I can't believe you're gonna start Chooks and Caden Wallace. You're gonna start a guy that got cut by the Steelers. How good was their O-line last year, right? And then a rookie who a lot of people had ranked way lower than they did. I don't know. Cole Strange has worked out, so maybe we don't question the Patriots on their offensive line selections, but they need weapons.
Bad.
They need a lot of weapons.
How many?
So for them to take a guy like Layden Robinson here is rising.
But this is one of those. Can we blame the laundry right now because they're under new management? I mean, they might suck the way that the Patriots previously sucked, but I would think that the Patriots drafting would suck in a brand new way unless they've, maintained everything but the Belichick in their scouting department.
Well, I guess what we're seeing here is still the Belichick influence, right? And that is these guys that are Jared Mayo, the rest of the staff. A lot of these guys came up under Bill, so they probably are using a lot of the same information and thought processes to evaluate prospects. But that is not going to get it done. Like that, there's a reason why Bill Belichick is gone. And it's because of the draft. He did not draft good players. You can have the best chef in the world, but if you're bringing home bad groceries, the food is going to taste bad. So
that was Patriots drafting way back in the day that you're referencing there. That's Bill Parcells, Terry Glenn talk.
That does sound like a Bill Parcells-ism, or maybe a Xavier, who likes to say garbage that sits out longer just stinks more when talking about bad starters. So, I think the Cardinals could use another wideout here. By the way,
this could be Javon. Maybe.
Let's see.
I'm trying to think about the speed at the receiver position right now.
It's Marvin Harrison. They do have Greg Dortch in the slot, who I like. Michael Wilson. They signed Chris Moore as kind of a deep threat. Linebacker help, edge help. They need a lot too. They haven't taken anything on the edge. And it's just Zaven Collins, Ujulari, Gardak. Like these are good players, but I think they could use a little help here. Jesse, set the over-under on which selection Torrey Taylor, is picked. The Iowa punter who is outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, it should have been 1-1, Bogman. Let's admit it.
Guy that can flip the field, way better than Caleb Williams.
I mean, he was insane. Iowa was in the top 10 because of him. I mean, that's true. Let's put it at pick 5-1. Let's put him over under first or fifth round, fourth round.
Yeah, I would. So when I was doing my 7-round mock, I did give him to the Niners at the end of this round. So, and they did it last year. They took Jake Moody at pick 99. So they took a kicker inside the top 100, and I had them take a punter inside the top 150 here.
I mean, pretty clearly you would need to get Welsh on the show live if that happened, to watch a punter get picked.
There is no way he's coming on the show today. Not for a punter, for sure. Not a chance. So you better have a better shot of him coming on the show if they draft a safety or a cornerback, which he also does not care about. So, B1G Offensive Player of the Year, Torrey Taylor, says Aaron. I agree with this too. We need Mayock back just for his disgusted looks on the day 3 spectacle. Do you remember when the lady from the Cincinnati Zoo was making the monkey do the picks, how disgusted Mayock was? If you guys haven't seen that, you need to go back and find it on YouTube. It is unbelievable. He looks so mad. And the lady at the zoo also did not look like she was having a good time.
Taylor Dimerson goes here to the Cardinals.
That's a good that they need secondary help.
Yeah.
So
Jalen Thompson, count your days. Is what they just said. That's exactly what they just said.
Which comp?
No, I said Jalen Thompson, count your days. That's who's currently their strong safety.
Yeah. Well, they have safeties too. Look at this guy. Look who's popping in with us, Mr. Eric Froton. What is going on, my friend? How you doing?
How are we doing, gentlemen? How are we? Thanks for having me on here, Bogsy.
Of course, man. Thanks for coming on. This is, they say, why do we do day 3? And it's because day 3 has the most fantasy relevance in it. Let's get your take on Troy Franklin finally going and going with his teammate to Denver with Bo Nix.
You're ahead of me, so I just be forewarned. I'm a tick behind. What pick did he go at?
He went at 102.
Oh, geez. Okay, so I should be right there. It's on Arizona. I'm sorry. I was getting myself together. Troy Franklin finally goes.
Why did he fall? Is it because of the Oregon offense, or is it something with him?
You see that gauntlet drill?
Okay, he weaved one time? That's why? That's all it takes is weaving one time, Eric?
Oh, that wasn't one time. That was the whole time, baby. He was surfing out there. He was snowboarding and during the gauntlet drill.
He's a carver. He's in Denver now, you know.
Right, see him carve. My comp for him was Jalen Hyatt. And I think that's, my gosh, do I feel even better about it now, you know?
Who was your comp?
Maybe that's a bet. Jalen Hyatt, Tennessee. Ooh. He just ran straight down the field, baby. He's fast. Yeah, we know. But how many guys tested in the 4.3s nowadays, you know, the wide receiver class? And he was still in the 4.4s. Was he 4.41? You know, so it's not like, we thought he had this big game-breaking speed. Well, meet Xavier Worthy, and he's 4.21. You know, here's Adonai Mitchell. Here's Brian Thomas. Here's Xavier Legette. Like, all of them went and tested their bags off, you know? So he didn't have the freaky athleticism that kind of people expected. They didn't have the top-end speed people expected. Didn't have the, testing and combine drill performance that people expected. So you throw in the Oregon simple, basic, Bo Nix had the shortest time to throw of any quarterback in this class. It's 2.44 TTT. And the reason why is because it's a very simple offense. He's coming out of gun the whole time. It's hiked. He already has a pre-snap read. He looks at his pre-snap read. The linebacker sucks up. He hits Tez Johnson on the quick slant. It's a robotic type offense. And then Troy Franklin's part is, okay, well, we're going to do the RPO. We're going to pull. And then you got a one-on-one down the left sideline from the X, and we're just going to bomb it to him. Right?
Okay, but there is the route running is questionable. I'm not
going to 174 pounds he weighed at.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I guess just multiple issues. That's why he fell. But I mean, he had success. I am surprised he fell so far with so many teams that needed it. But I do love the fit here in Denver because there's opportunity immediately and already rapport with who we assume is going to be the starting quarterback by the end of the season. So I do think if we are knocking Troy Franklin, and that is more than fair, right? At least in the NFL, he is in a good spot as well, just like he was in Oregon. So I think for fantasy, it's a pretty good landing spot for him.
Great
I
one.
can imagine a better landing spot for him.
Perfect.
But as a prospect, he is knocked a little bit. Jatavian Sanders going to Carolina, Proton. We like that, right? Give first of all, Carolina having one of the best. Whenever you take two Texas players, you have one of the best drafters. Everybody, one of the best draft
Texas skill players at that, Bogsy, not just players.
That's right. JB and Jatavian. I mean, this is just. I was saying it earlier. It is get Bryce Young is no excuses. Give him weapons, so there are no excuses for him this year. I expect him to be way better. I liked him coming in last year. Yes, a little undersized.
I did too.
Dude can make every single throw. So get him some protection. That TTT was real low. I believe what it said on PFF was just 1 Mississippi is all he had last year to get that ball out. And also he had a bunch of slow wide receivers that didn't get open in the first 40 yards. So it was
a whole fleet of them, in fact.
Disastrous mix, right? Bad O-line, guys not open. Short guy that can't see over the offensive line in his first season. Like it was built to fail, right? It felt like you ever watch 30 Rock? You see Alec Baldwin when he's tanking NBC, right?
Jack Dunphy, of course.
Yeah, Jack Donaghy. Yeah,
Jack Donaghy. Sorry.
Yeah, he sunk NBC. It felt like Carolina was doing that last year, but I like the pick of Sanders. Does he go ahead of Sanat, even though Sanat was picked early? Now in terms of fantasy, Froton.
No.
No.
No,
you like
I
Ben
love
Sinnott more?
I love Ben Sinnott. No,
but Ben Sinnott is a package player, right?
This is the Texas slant we get on every Texas story. Oh yeah. Jatavian Sanders ran a 40 time that was timed with a sundial. But yeah, let's take him in front of Sinnott, who just went to the number 2 overall player, and Jaden Daniels, and number 1 deep passer in the country last year. Yeah, let's do that. Of course not, Bogsy.
Yeah, Ben Sinnott's going to be open real deep a lot, isn't he? He's got that straight line speed like everybody else, right? Come on. What my point is that Ben Sinnott is a package player in Cliff Kingsbury's offense, is he not? He's going to be there for short yardage and goal line a lot more than he's not going to be there on 3rd and long, right? That's going to be Zach Ertz at tight end.
Ben Sinnott put up a 40-inch vertical at 250 pounds. 10-6 broad. 99%.
I like Ben Sinnott. He's a way more complete tight end.
Ran a sub-7 3-cone. He ran a 6.82 3-cone. That's a 98th percentile mark. Ran an 84th percentile 40-yard dash. Okay, so that was his bad mark. Everything he did was exceptional. He had a 97th percentile athletic profile, and it wasn't like he's just this big. Oh, me lift weight, me strong. He was one of the most productive tight ends in college last year. You watched him at Kansas State. He was a Big 12 tight end. He made. I mean,
he's
body
a great
control,
player. He's a
ball tracking. Yeah, he will catch balls down the seam from Jaden Daniels. Yeah, he will. He does have that profile, and it's. I mean, I think it's shocking that you would even suggest that, oh, yeah, well, Jatavian Sanders, he went to Texas, and I like him.
No. It's not because he went to Texas. It's not because he went to Texas. I was making my point. Well, look, that you don't have a number 1 in Carolina right now. Maybe it's Deontay, right? You assume it's Deontay. Leggett, I thought, was a reach. You're looking for weapons for this guy. There is no competition at tight end for Sanders. Tommy Tremble, I like the Cedric Gray pick, by the way, to Tennessee. I think that's a really good pick.
do like Cedric Gray a lot.
But my point is for immediate impact today. Zach Ertz has familiarity with Cliff Kingsbury's system. He is going to be the starting tight end for Washington this season. Ben Sinnott is great. I will say this into the microphone. Everybody listening? Eric, you listening?
I am.
Sinnott is a better all-around tight end than Jatavian Sanders. I am not disputing that. In terms of tight ends, Sinnott is better. Pass catching, I don't know. I think Sanders has opportunity. I think Sanders has opportunity, and I think he's going to be in there on way more downs. I bet you Sanders has more snaps than Snot in year one, at least. Maybe if Zach Ertz goes down.
Lack of a better alternative, but I think when we start closing out the season, when it's time to get into playoff time, I'm going to want Ben Sinnott because Zach Ertz. Quick question: who's older, Bogsy or Zach Ertz? Do we know?
I am.
You are? I mean, it's not by much. I don't think
it's not. No,
exactly. It's not. Xavier. He's probably older than Xavier. He's a young, handsome man.
Yeah, he's definitely Xavier is 26. You can't use Xavier.
I'm sorry, Xavier. I'm sorry. Yeah, and no offense, Jesse. I think you got him too. We both have. We're both older than Zach Ertz.
Speaking of tight ends, Theo Johnson here to the Giants.
Oh, I love
Theo Johnson.
He's going to the Giants.
Yeah.
I don't. Baby, Bellinger, San Diego State. I like an interesting battle.
Yeah. Theo
okay.
Johnson.
See, now you and I have that in common. By the way, you can ask CK. At any point you want. I am a Daniel Bellinger guy. I kept saying I don't know if the Giants take Brock Bowers. I mean, Bellinger doesn't keep you from taking Brock Bowers, but you have the worst wide receiver room in the NFL. You had to take Malik Neighbors. Had to. So
yeah, definitely. But especially looking at this is the fourth round. You got Theo Johnson. They're going to put Bellinger and Johnson out there as their legacy tight end group. Both of them are 95th percentile plus athletes. I mean, both of them are verified, legitimate freaks. If Theo Johnson, first I was at the Senior Bowl. He tore up the Senior Bowl. Like, no problem with that, his athleticism there. He took on all comers. Any safety, any linebacker wanted a piece of Theo Johnson. He gave it to him, and he came out on the other side victorious. But, the two of them, I see that as fertile hunting ground for dynasties. If you want cheap, especially in a startup, you want to target a cheap tight end room who you don't have to invest in down the line, and you'll get one of those guys is going to be, I feel, at least a credible tight end two, who you can start every week, potentially even a super flex option in deep leagues with tight end premiums. That's what I think about those two.
Yeah, this pick, I don't know. Well, I guess you're taking him over Jatavian Sanders then, huh, Eric? So you take a Theo Johnson over Jatavian.
Are we talking dynasty?
Talking
one league. Because Sanders is going to out-rep Johnson. We don't know what's going to happen in that room this year. It's I don't know what's happening, but yeah, he has Bellinger to cloud his profile.
Yeah.
That doesn't help.
He's ahead of Tip Ryman. I'll say that much. So that's for sure.
Tip Ryman. I wish I had taken Tip Ryman to be what, TE3? Is that what he was, or was he TE2?
He was. Yeah. No.
TE3. Right. Yeah. Because Sinnott was 2. Yeah. Ryman was TE3. Wow. There was a market on it too. You could have had that.
Kyrie Jackson. I think that's a great pick for the Vikings. Jesse is a Vikings fan. Tell him about Kyrie Jackson here, Froton.
Oh, Kyrie Jackson. Oh,
good
Jesse, pick. I'm liking what Minnesota has done in the draft. Let me be honest with you. God, what more can you want? You get Dallas Turner and JJ McCarthy. You don't have to give up much draft capital to where you can go and wait for a value like Kyrie Jackson to fall. All right, so Kyrie Jackson, big. You want to talk about – that's the first thing you say. Kyrie Jackson is a super-sized defensive back to where he may end up walking up and being a tweener. But, dude, when you look at, the way that the physicality that he can bring that a lot of DBs can't, he's like 216. Like, he's up there, right? I like his profile. He can also cover the slot despite being so big, right? I know he's a cornerback, but he's 194. I'm sorry, but like you watch him on tape, and I hope they go through the highlights. Like supersized, he's almost unnatural. Like he was a cornerback, but it's going to be hard for him to stick there at the pros because he's 6'4". You know what I mean? But like everything that's in front of him, he's got the long speed is tough because those legs, he's got to get them churning. But gosh, I look at him as being like that hybrid. You can go all the way back and play deep halves, or walk him all the way up and play him in the slot, or bring him off the edge. It's like he has that complete profile with plenty of room to grow into his frame. So I've seen a couple of different national analysts who specifically mentioned Kyrie Jackson as being one of the day 3 players who has the potential of coming in and being a contributor right away. So I have to think with what the Vikings have already put on the board, throwing Kyrie Jackson like a long, rangy type of DB, instinctive. Like everybody likes him. Good, team guy. Congratulations, Jesse.
That's a great description. Brandon Dorless.
Nice.
I love that pick for the Falcons, Xavier.
Oh, lots of Oregon.
Yeah, a lot of Oregon going today. Good Lord. They're catching up to Washington in Michigan right now. But what do you think of the Dorless pick for your Falcons, Xavier?
I love it. And it's a clear signal to what this team wants to do this year, which is to add team speed up front. We want to get faster. And Brandon Dorless is a guy that can do that for you. Had a RAS score of an 8.65, had a 10-yard split of a 168, had a 3-cone of a 7.43, which as a guy who's almost 290, that's excellent. I really love him. I think as far as what he'll be at the next level, he will be extremely twitchy. Depending on what he plays will be interesting for me because he's a bit of a tweener. But this is a team that already took Rook earlier in the draft. So there's definitely a team that's looking to have people who can play across the D-line. So I love Brandon Dorless. He blew up at the Senior Bowl. And I was like, yeah, this is a guy. This is a dude. I want him. So to be able to get him here at 104 was excellent for us. So
yeah, I think it's a really smart move for the Falcons that had issues in terms of the depth on the interior. Like, Grady Jarrett is awesome, but he's coming off a torn ACL. So you add Rook, now you add Dorless, I think, and Braylon Trice to this edge class as well. These are all really good picks. Go ahead, Froton.
I was going to say, they finally took your receiver in New England.
Javon Baker? Was it Baker?
Yep.
They needed it. That is such a good pick for your Patriots.
Hell yeah.
Froton. You like that pick?
Oh, I do, but I want to address Xavier as he mentioned with Dorless. Gosh, look at Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Like Rook Rororo. I was at UNC Clemson. I've seen Rook in the flesh. That is a brick of a man. I mean, I don't understand how anyone stays in front of him because looking at him matched up where you're looking line to line right there, on the level to level, he's bigger. His frame, it's square. There's no fat on the guy. He's just a human brick.
He's a Greek god.
Really is. I mean, if you're making an IDL, twitchy IDL in a lap, like it's him. But I have I talked to one particular NFL.com writer who I'm friends with and had a discussion about him. And he specifically brought up just how raw that Rook is. And it's like you look at him, he's Tarzan. It's look like Tarzan, play like Jane. He doesn't play like Jane, not that, but it's his refinement. It's like he wastes steps. His hand play could be more efficient, but he just overwhelms with sheer physical, born with, you can't even teach it with
man
him.
Strength, country strong.
He just is what he is. You can't teach it. You just can't. And if it's a case with him is it might take him a year or two, but when it clicks for him and it all comes together and his feet and his hands are in sync, like he could be a wrecking machine.
Well, it's funny you say that because when I was reading up on him in the pre-draft, I kept getting David Onyemata comps. And I was like, look who he's playing next to now. And then obviously he's going to be playing next to Grady. He's going to be able to be in the lab with some of the guys who mirror his play style almost to a T. And so I'm just excited to see what that kid looks like, in 2025, 2026, once some of the older guys are walking away, right? As Grady's into his 30s, Onyemai's into his 30s, and you're like, all right, cool. Well, we've got their exact replicas coming in behind them, deal with that. So yeah, I like that pick. A lot of people on the TL were apprehensive. I don't think a lot of people did their homework on him coming into the draft, and obviously Johnny Newton was there, so a lot of people were angry about it.
Oh well, yeah, Johnny Newton. I understand the appeal there, but I think that Atlanta saw what I saw, in person, which is just the sheer spectacle of a man that he is.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't a bad profile to bet on, right. There's worse out there than Ruke, but and then with Dorless, keep in mind, Dorless did a lot of work off the edge.
I mean, he's a tweener. He can do everything, and they play multiple.
But he's 280
in Atlanta.
Yeah, but if he wants to go up that 290, I mean that's 3-tech work. He's a little light to be a 3-tech, obviously, but the athletic profile is there. You look at his speed. I mean, he ran a 4.85. You don't see a lot of IDLs out there cranking out, 4.85s at 283 like that. I mean, I think it was a 98th percentile. Mark is 168, 10-yard split, 94th percentile. So his get off, I mean, that's there. It's just a matter of, you want to see, hopefully he doesn't get washed out in run support is pretty much all I'm worried about with Dorless. But in terms of a situational pass rushing, 3-tech, you want to, especially if you're running a 4-3, like he'll be in there. He'll be a factor on passing downs, I would think, right away. And to be able to get the 4th round, I had a 3rd round grade on him. So I like that. And then the Patriots with Javon Baker.
So
a guy that a lot of people liked.
Dude, go ahead, Scott. I'll get to Javon in just a second because
I mean, the speed makes Baker like a day one starter to me. Like, how can he not be? It is this wide receiver core in New England is tough, man. I like Polk, but you add him to a slow group of Juju and KJ Osborne, who I don't know why they signed. Like the dude cannot make a missed tackle force to save his life.
Right.
He's so slow. He gets open in zone, but he cannot separate. I just didn't understand.
You already got Juju there. You need another one? It's the same.
Well, he's a carbon copy of Juju, and Juju might not play again because of his knee. So, which I didn't really believe going into last year, but then when it started to be, around training camp and he wasn't ready, that's when I started to get worried. So, that was bad last year. Who is this international cheesehead taking for the Packers here?
TJ Tampa to Green Bay.
That's such
TJ Tampa. There's a drop.
Unbelievable. Dude.
Oh, sorry. No, wait. That was reported incorrectly. Evan Williams from Oregon.
Evan Williams in the 4th.
More Oregon.
Oregon's like
this
right
4th
now.
round is Oregon round.
This is the Oregon show. Yeah, my gosh.
Yeah, no. I will say this about New England though. They added technicians. I'll say this. Like, yeah, they didn't add a ton of yak guys. They didn't add a ton of rack guys. But everybody on that team can run the entire route tree. And that is a value in its own right because you've added enough guys. Polk is going to be able to win at 5 to 10 or 10 to 15, 2 to 5. Like KJ Osborne was always open in Minnesota. He just was always open. Yeah, he was wide receiver 3, but he was always open. And now you add Javon Baker, who's probably going to be your wide receiver 1/1B with Polk. Once again, a guy who can run the entire route tree, has no limitations, none. And
isn't Baker the one that also thinks he's the best wide receiver in the class and will not hear anybody else?
But
was that him or was that Burton? I can't remember.
It might have been Burton. Both of them sound like him. But yeah. Baker was a guy. Baker from high school. Baker was a 5-star recruit. He went to Bama originally and then transferred to UCF. So a lot of people, didn't get to watch a lot of Baker. But from what I can remember when he was recruited, he was supposed to be the Devontae Smith replacement. Like that was his mold. He was supposed to be the long, kind of slender guy, but ran the entire route tree, caught in traffic in the whole nine. And so now that he's, got a chance to wow people in the pre-draft, I'm excited for what he'll be able to do in New England. And Drake May, I think, is going to love that kid.
They don't have a Raiders international fan, so it's
Oh,
Don.
come on, we couldn't have gone to Mexico for this.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, they took a corner, by the way. The
Who's,
Cameron Richardson.
The Cameron Richardson, the kid from Mississippi State. Is he skinny? Is that the issue with him, Proton? Richardson, Mississippi State corner.
Because you got to remember this too. There's the Cameron and there's Damani Richardson.
Yes.
So I don't want to give you a profile on one and have it be the other, but
yes.
No, the Cameron's a Texas A&M guy.
We're looking at the Mississippi State kid.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mississippi State, right?
Yeah.
Yes, run stopper, like a physical run stopping, walk him up. Fucking don't. Oh, excuse me. Oh, geez.
That's fine.
Short tackler, like a pretty good lunch pail type of a DB, but career 67% completion rate allowed, right?
Yeah.
So I look at him and say, 6 foot, 210. Is he going to stick around at cornerback here? And that's really what you're getting into. It's funny. There's a couple of those profiles. We mentioned someone else.
Here it is.
Tez Walker to the Ravens.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I
wow.
can't wait for him to get in camp and remind everybody how good that kid is. I know he had a horrible pre-draft, but I don't care. That kid can go. That kid's got juice.
That's complete Ravens, right, Bogman?
Yes.
Do the Ravens always get the value that drops?
They sit and they take BPA like every pick, and that is why they're good every single year. It's also why they have issues most years too. There's like a hole somewhere, right? It's because they're not drafting for need. They're drafting the best player available and going as far as they can with the best players on the board. And I think it's a real smart pick. I don't particularly love the receiving room for the Ravens. You know, Mark Andrews is great. We know Zay Flowers is great, but Zay's a little crazy. I'm kind of afraid of something happening with him in the future. Rashad Bateman, bust. I think we can say it at this point, right? He's a bust. Which is disappointing. I thought he was going to be good coming in, but he's just not. So, it's like, what do they say in Mean Girls? Is quit trying to make fetch happen. Quit trying to make Bateman happen. He's not happening. So Nelson Aguilar, Tylan Wallace, right? So I think getting a guy like Tez Walker makes a ton of sense here. Frotzon, what do you think about Tez Walker? And then I got another question for you.
I interviewed him at the Senior Bowl, and I watched him play twice. I saw him against Oregon in the 2023 Holiday Bowl, which was an unbelievable game, that bowl game, which is in San Diego at Petco Park. First game ever played at Petco. So I saw him there, and then I saw him against Clemson and Nate Wiggins this year in Death Valley, which was another awesome game. It was the game where Nate Wiggins, you see Wiggins come from behind on a Myrie and Hampton where he's running. He's almost at the goal line, and he snakes it out.
The Don Beebe play. Yeah.
Legendary. Like that's a famous play. I was there for that and that game. Two observations.
You were also at the Notre Dame Ohio State game this year, weren't you?
That was Notre Dame Ohio State. I was on the goal line for Notre Dame Ohio State and ran on the field after that last play while filming. I have it filming. I can send it to you, Bogsy. And then I turn on my cell phone, like, oh my gosh, hey. And as I turn around, I almost get run over by the Ohio State offensive line jogging off the field. Turn around, I'm like, number 75 is like, you see him right in the frame. I'm like, oh, shit. So, yeah, that was my most memorable moment from a game this year. I got to 10 games this year. I got to Washington, Oregon in the Pac-12 championship. I almost got to the Big 12 championship, but I got a stand-in for me to do that. Who was that? Who went to the
I don't
Big
remember.
12
Speaking of videos,
speaking
of videos, I have
Cedric
a very
Baxter
good Cedric Baxter.
Throw the horns to him.
Oh yeah. Yes. That was unbelievable, dude. That was my first time at Jerry World too. That was incredible.
Dude, I'm so sorry I couldn't go there with you, but I had to make the call.
Oh,
I had to make a wedge call, Bugsy. It's like,
absolutely.
I could go to the Big 12 with Bugsy, or I can go to Oregon, Washington, last Pac-12 championship game, and then I got to go to Boise State UNLV the day after. So I got to go to 2 championship games in one. I had to take it, Bugs.
So yeah, absolutely. I don't blame you at all. But so you're like, maybe don't wear Texas stuff. You know what I mean? So I wore like a bright red Kool-Aid Man shirt, and you can see me in the crowd all over the place. After the game. Yeah.
Oh, I know. I afterwards, when I'm going through I went through the clips, and especially when they're kicking extra points, you're right under the goalpost, Bugsy.
Yeah.
You can't be missed.
I'm over there chatting up the security guards, because none of the camera people want to talk to me. So, and I can't shut up. Everybody knows that. Well, we're here, aren't we? So,
the camera guys, you don't talk to the camera guys.
They're not very friendly. Yeah. So
that's why they're camera people. They're not
Xavier's a camera guy.
Behind the man.
Xavier, are you not friendly to people?
No, he's got a job to do.
When I'm working games, I actually have AirPods in. I don't even care to like necessarily hear what's going on around me. I'm just like, look, I got to go up and down this sideline for the next 3.5 hours. You guys,
all you're doing is following. People don't realize that when you're on that sideline, all you're doing is just going up and down. You can't be on the bench, so you got to go 20s to 20s, and you're just like, all right, they're going this way. It's punting.
Yep.
Yeah, you're done. It's a workout.
It's like a 60-yard bomb, and it's like a 60-yard bomb, and you're like, I got to
every time
20 to the 20. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, if you're a cameraman, like you get ready, you're hoofing it all game long. Like
they were moving. They're moving back. They're
constantly
moving.
You get there's cables everywhere. You're always stepping over it all the time.
I almost got tripped by cables a couple times.
Scott, were you able to stay out of the way of the crane that they use on the sideline?
I didn't get in the way.
The most annoying thing in the world is that
he was all end zone.
Okay.
Yeah. Right? You were mostly end zone.
Well, dude, the Texas sideline was like a damn frat party.
Yes,
Undertaker was over there.
Yeah.
Vince Young was like there was no room to see the game behind all of the giants on the because it was the Texas players, and then the WWE sponsored the event, so the Undertaker and all his best buddies are standing over there.
Yeah, that's right.
There and seen the Undertaker and been there for WWE.
He's a Texas fan. He lives in Austin.
I didn't go.
Proton. It was a great time, man.
Pictures I could have gotten during the course of that game with my wrestling heroes.
I was not confident enough to go get pictures with those guys.
No, but I am.
Yeah.
Look, this is a vintage. This is a vintage
Look
Rocky
at that.
Maivia original 1997 Die Rocky Die Rocky Maivia.
Oh man.
WWE figure. Yeah, this is an old one. Man,
I
had this up in my basement. It's probably worth some serious money. I had it up in my basement. I haven't touched it.
I bet it is. Let me ask you this. So, Dynasty, I talked with Jesse a little bit earlier. Everyone's going to have Caleb at 1. He's just so safe, maybe not like safe, but the closest thing to Patrick Mahomes we've seen coming out of the draft. No one's Patrick Mahomes, of course, but same type of skill set. He's boom or bust, but you have to take him because of the boom potential. Who's 2? Is it definitely Jaden? Is it McCarthy because they throw the ball so much? Is it Drake because Eric All to the Bengals?
Eric All.
I hate it for the Bengals. But Iowa tight end is a good pick. We have Iowa fan here too. So well, real quick before I ask you that, Froton, Jesse, Eric All. What do you see in Eric All being our Iowa guy here?
Well, we didn't see much of him, but man, that Iowa tight end room is just always stacked in these last few years. So I think he was underrated. I mean, we just didn't get to see enough of him this year, but he was playing behind some pretty good players. But he's good. Yeah,
I mean, just a long line of Iowa tight ends, right? We've had a lot of success. We've had some guys maybe not as successful as we thought. Jags have another pick. They have back-to-back picks here. Javon Foster, and then I guess since he took Eric All, and now they have another pick.
Yeah, they took Jordan Jefferson, the D tackle out of LSU.
Oh, the big man. Okay. That makes
Jordan
sense.
Jefferson from LSU. Maybe they had him confused for the other Jay Jefferson from LSU. They thought they could still draft him.
We're like, yeah, we got him, guys.
The other JJ. So getting back to the QBs, Frotan, for you, is it definitely Jaden at 2 because of the rushing upside? Is it McCarthy because Kevin O'Connell throws the ball? And as Xavier mentioned a little bit earlier before you got here, Josh Dobbs stepped in and played fine. Like, it's not, this isn't learning John Gruden's offense, right? So a rookie can come in here and potentially play. Obviously, Josh Dobbs smarter than the average Bear. We know that. But what do you think of the quarterbacks that went in their landing spots? Who is 2 to you?
The interesting thing about Josh Dobbs, he reminds me of Too Cold Scorpio, right? Isn't that a good comp for him from wrestling parlance of back in the day? Like, I see him and I think, Too Cold Scorpio, I want to see a moonsault, legendary flyer, ahead of his time, Too Cold Scorpio. Anyways, yeah, I mean, Jaden Daniels, his rushing ability is what is going to make or break him, because and I mean this in a literal sense. I had the opportunity to be at the Elite 11 final last year in Redondo Beach, where Michael Penix and Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams were all counselors, and I got to meet and watch all of them go through their business. I watched Daniels and Penix do their pro day drills and everything. He's thin. Jaden Daniels is a thin dude. And
he runs around like a crash test dummy. I was mentioning that before as well.
Wild. And there's not going to be those kind of running lanes that there were in college in the NFL. And he, my favorite stat on him is he threw 20% of the time when he was moved off platform. So when he was on the move, and anyway, he ran 80% of the time. He only threw 20% of the time when off platform. So that's a 57% average in the NFL. His deep ball passing is exquisite. He's got a nice, clean overhand delivery. It's quick. He can get it out. Like, there's a lot to like about Jaden Daniels, as long as he doesn't kill himself.
And the RG3 comps are appropriate, right?
It's right there. All of it's there. The landings, but everything's there for the RG3 comp. Don't want history to repeat itself. So I think you're going to get some good time on him, but I think it could be, it could catch up to him down the line with injury and just not being able to hold up to the rigors of the position. And if you don't have that ability to run, or if you're, that is somewhat slightly diminished and it's just his pocket ability, is that enough, because he relied so much on his legs, despite the fact that he was an elite deep ball passer and handled pressure well. So I feel pretty good about it. I think you still have to call him the nominal QB2 in this class. I will be targeting him in my dynasty drafts if I have the opportunity, if I need a QB and there is no Caleb Williams on the board. I think you have to give him.
So it is. Respect. So Jaden is 2. So who's 3? Is it Drake May or is it JJ?
I am in a dynasty league where I'm in a spot that I will be taking. I have the number 2 and I have the number 5 and the number 8. Right. I will be taking Marvin Harrison. I'm leaning towards a Dunze at 5 because that will likely leave me, based on the board, as long as another QB doesn't go, if Jaden goes, and if there's a Dunze, May, and JJ, I look at May and JJ as being like, I would rather have a Dunze.
Yeah.
If I had, and then I'm looking down the board, I would rather have a Dunze first out of that group for my particular team. For what I need.
This is a 1 QB or super?
And then split the baby, 2 QBs.
2. Ooh,
I know.
Okay. No. I mean,
because I have number 8, so I'm saying one of those is going to fall. I'm going to be able to do this. I'm just game plan. I'm war gaming it out. But the point is, I kind of look at them as kind of being interchangeable. It's really close between JJ and May, given JJ's ready-made, out of the box, good to go. He's got it all at Minnesota. Everything's there. Take over, be the guy, throw to Justin Jefferson. Drake May is going to have to do more developing. He's going to, I mean, both of them are going to have an element of, getting up to speed. But you watch Drake May, and he's throwing on his tippy toes on a lot of his tosses last year. He's not setting his feet. He's not like the way he's climbing his pocket. He's not keeping like proper spacing between his feet. He's clicking his heels. Like it just wasn't he looked way better in 2022 when Phil Longo was there as OC and he was kind of bearing down on him and he had spent the time, he had developed him a little bit. And then, it's kind of a lame duck situation comes in and, a new guy, and he's just happy to have Drake May there and doesn't want to drive him out of town. They're not doing as much coaching. He's going to get drilled down upon at New England and work on that. But
you think it takes longer for him to start, like because Brissett's such a vet and all of
that?
Yeah.
Take a year. Take a year. Go out and stink, and then go out. Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm on the same mindset. Let him sit. Okay. There's no reason to risk that kid.
Long play. Play here.
Oh, he's super young too. Like he is the youngest quarterback of this group. Yeah. So.
And JJ's a third-year commit. Enrollee too. So it's like both of them are going to have to. There's learning to be done, but I mean, I lean May for dynasty overall purposes. But if I'm looking for a return in the next 3 years, I'd take JJ.
Dude, I want Jaden Hicks. Don't tell me the picks up here. I want Jaden Hicks.
Hicks.
So bad.
He's still there?
Or Jarvis Brownlee Jr. I want a corner.
I love Jarvis Brownlee. Great.
I love both those guys. I want one of those guys for the Steelers here. So let me.
Jarvis Brownlee Jr. would be a phenomenal selection. Sincerely.
Tyrese Knight to the Seattle.
Tyrese Knight.
That's a very Seattle pick.
No problem.
Very Seattle.
It's sneaky too.
I
like that's one of CK's favorite guys is Tyrese Knight.
That's a very Seattle pick. We're gonna groom this kid into being like a 7-sack guy in 3 years.
They need it too. Like they went out and they signed Jerome Baker and the guy from I can't remember his name right now. The guy from Seattle or from Buffalo, who had Tyler Dotson. They signed those two guys to start, but behind those linebackers, it's like John Radigan. Let me pull up the depth chart here.
So it
is Drake Thomas, Patrick O'Connell, John Radigan. In terms of inside guys, Drake Thomas, I don't even know who Drake Thomas is. Tyrese Knight, I think is a very good pick for the Seahawks here. Give me my Steelers pick. Come on, give me my DB.
Dude,
we got
Peyton
everything
Wilson
else we need.
A long time, huh? Peyton Wilson.
Who's that?
Peyton Wilson, 98.
Apparently, he's not playing with ACOs.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know that.
Yeah.
We know he's had injuries. Shoulders probably, too. I mean, he did both his shoulders in 22.
Well, that's a guy, too, that can,
We talk about how beautiful Ireland is in this video. This is gorgeous. I got to This is like, they are making this pick in the most scenic of areas. Like, what is this? This is fantastic.
My buddy turned 40 on the 25th, and his wife took him to Tokyo for his 40th birthday. So he's there right now, and I'm like, I mean, I would love to go to Tokyo, but not in the middle of the NFL draft. So,
wow.
Yeah, the owners, the Steelers owners, the Rooneys are Irish, and Dan Rooney used to be during the Obama administration, he was the American ambassador to Ireland. So Mason McCormick, more O-line, please. I want a defensive back, but the O-line is going to be fixed this year, 100%. So
Mason McCormick,
look at this road grader.
Yeah, that's a mauler.
Dude, how Najee Harris stock, Jalen Warren stock, going through the roof right now in fantasy.
Hey, that's how these teams do it. I'm a Patriots fan. Turns out we have things in common.
Arthur Smith is doing amazing work for you guys right now. What?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean the O line. Look, the O line is fixed. Let's get a DB. I don't want. The Dolphins trading up here. How are the Dolphins trading up? Do they have any picks left?
I know they're not.
Always next year.
I was gonna say, are they giving away a next year's fifth?
This is Rams. This is the Rams playbook here. All right, so Froton, tell me about some RBs here. Brooks to Carolina, Benson to Arizona, Corum to the Rams, Marshawn Lloyd to Green Bay. That's all the running backs that have been drafted so far.
All four of them.
Yeah, we still have Jalen Wright, Ray Davis, Tyrone Tracy, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, Bucky Irving, Audric Estime. We have so many good RBs left in day 3. Looking more and more like 5th round picks. I can't believe Jalen Wright's going to fall to the 5th. I mean, we still have whatever it is, 50 picks and between round 4 and 5 here. But what do you think? Who had the best landing spot of those guys? Is it Brooks because there's not a lot of competition? Is it Benson because Connor's not long, for the NFL most likely? Do you like Corum going to the Rams? Your thoughts on these RBs so far?
I like the Benson landing spot.
Yeah.
You like Arizona.
Who? Benson's landing spot. They're all pretty good. I mean, well, those 3. We all know it's not Marshawn Lloyd.
Yeah.
So it's got to be one of the other 3. We can just lop him off right away. I like Benson because, sure. James Conner is there. James Conner has been on borrowed time, it seems like, for a couple of years at this point. How much money are you going to pay this guy to stick around? I just think Trey Benson will do a apprenticeship year, and then I think he goes and in that offense with how jacked that thing is now and ready to go. Paris Johnson last year, you got Marvin coming in, Kyler's healthy. Oh my gosh! Like, think about how dangerous James Conner goes down. Like, that's going to be a dangerous offense. I just think long term, that's going to be a profitable spot.
Can I, since we're talking about running backs here, I'm going to spoil this pick for you guys. And the Dolphins continue to add speed.
No way. It's a running back?
Jalen Wright. Yep.
They take Jalen Wright?
Yep.
Why? I like it.
Okay, and the pick in the
I also hate it.
He's 190 pounds. That's why. And
the trade was
I get it.
They traded their 2025 third round pick to come up.
This is
wow.
Dude, this is Zach Charbonnet landing in Seattle.
They didn't just take Jalen Wright.
They
invested in Jalen Wright. A third rounder.
Yeah.
For Jalen Wright.
Jeez.
By the way, speaking of transitions, Xavier, excellent work there, my friend. All right, so let's do this. Jalen Wright versus Corum. It's Jalen, right?
I gotta go with Corum's landing spot.
Still Corum.
A-chain there. A-chain.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be a 2-headed backfield. Mostert 8 in that spot. He's going to have the short yardage.
That's my thing. Is Mostert scored 17 touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
So Mostert we know is going to get hurt. He always last year was the only year he didn't get hurt, right?
Fair.
So miss significant time, I guess I should say. So I hate this landing spot. I wanted him to slip and go to Dallas or something.
Well, of course you want that to happen. That's the dream landing spot. But this is the big picture. I feel like it's safe given the offense, given the structure. Like, we feel good about McDaniel. A-chain's small. They have a type with super fast backs. We know how fast the Jalen Wright is, 4.38 fast. So, and we know how fast A-chain is. So, they have a type, but he's just like a bigger version of A-chain, who Mustard is 1 year and gone. And then Jalen Wright is a better version of a more athletic version of Mustard in that offense. And is that a nice 1-2 punch where they're going to split the role? That could be pretty productive. I mean, late second, early third round rookie drafts, I still think he could justify that.
Yeah, I mean, he's still I think eventually you like this spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eventually you like the spot, but it is
maybe
it's going to be Mostert and it's going to be Achane most of this season. Jalen Wright. I'm frustrated for this season because Jalen Wright could add a running back, but he's not going to. In terms of this is now he's a guy that you take last.
Not a lot of upside here this year for a couple of years.
Yeah, it's a long-term investment, but the cream rises to the top. I'll say that. And Jalen Wright's a really good running back. So if Mostert slows down, if he does get hurt, Now Jalen Wright moves way up. I think he'll immediately pass Jeff Wilson on the
Yeah,
depth chart.
sure. No
So,
question.
Yes.
I don't think that'll be an issue. That's interesting pick as we sit here talking about RBs. Jalen Wright
Very
going
interesting.
to Miami. Let's talk some whiteout.
Some
Photon.
good, solid. I mean, yeah, round 4 skill position picks. Been some interesting picks in this round. I think you want to.
This is the biggest day for fantasy.
This is very interesting.
You know what you can honestly do with this? Honestly, you could start to flex A-Chain out as a receiver next year if you wanted to.
Yeah, you could.
Because realistically, obviously to keep him away from being hurt as well, keeping his touches down, but you flex that kid out and you stack him, Waddle, and Tyreek Hill in a bunch set. Good luck figuring out who's going where and how you're going to cover it.
I think the initial instinct from fantasy people is going to be to lower Achan, right? But you don't. It's Achan doesn't need. He needs 10 touches. That's what he needs in a game. If he has 10 touches, one of those has the chance to go to the house, right? I mean, he's Olympic level speed. So he makes guys miss. He doesn't need all of those touches, especially on a smaller frame, but he can do it. We saw him do it at A&M. This is me giving A&M a compliment here, by the way. Achan is unbelievable. I have him all over the place because he was going too late.
Look at that entire Miami offense, though. It is
it's
entirely
a track race.
predicated on speed.
Yes.
Plain and simple. Like, it's not fancy. Very down to just the bare bones. We want explosive guys, period. And
AJ Barner to the Seahawks.
It also means
AJ Barner. Oh, fourth round, huh?
Yeah. It also means they need a home playoff game because you get slower in the snow. That's pretty true. Figure it out.
Boggy, can we get a round 4? Just like lay down some of those skill position guys that have gone again. It feels like
absolutely
there's been a lot we've had to go through.
All right, it is skill positions in round 4. So we start with Jatavian Sanders going to the Panthers, Troy Franklin to the Broncos. Then we have Theo Johnson to the Giants. Then Javon Baker to the Pats. Oh, yeah. We've got Tez Walker to the Ravens. We've got Eric All to the Bengals. And then we had who was this last pick? Sorry. Barner or Jalen Wright to the Dolphins, and then Barner to the Seahawks.
The tight end round.
Yes.
It is. What tight end are the Bears going to take here?
Gosh. Eric All could be something
who's still available
special in that role.
They did
Bears
it.
got to take a defensive tackle.
No, they did it. Wait. If this is correct, did they just take the punter from Iowa?
They took Tory Taylor?
Oh my gosh!
All I know is a Bears fan that I follow on Twitter is extremely excited. He was like, "Ryan Poles is official." Yes, they did it. Tory Taylor.
Wow!
There you go, Guthrie. Guthrie's our Bears fan here.
Round 4
and Jesse, where is Jesse?
Round.
Your punter just went, Jesse.
Round 4 is always so much fun. Round 4, it really is. You don't know what's going to happen.
I think Jesse left. I'm going to take him off the screen here. But yeah, I mean, Tory Taylor, we knew he was going. There he goes. I'm gonna text our guy Thor here.
He'll be thrilled about that.
That's such a fun pick. And now Houston is traded up to 123.
Houston coming up. Oh, I think they want a running back.
That's such a fun pick. So they're taking Caleb Williams, Roman Dunes, the tackle out of Yale, and then Tory Taylor.
You know who this should be for Houston? This should be Spencer Rattler.
Ooh.
Wow.
Who is their backup quarterback right now?
Dude, where is it? There has been no Spencer Rattler.
I know. I can't believe that 6 QBs went in the first.
I'm so low on Rattler.
Look at these coffin corners that we're talking about in the 4th round.
There it is. Guthrie. There's the sketch. There's the Twitch streamer. I was waiting for him to announce a pick.
Oh, it's a Twitch streamer for the Texans here?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Special teams, special players. Yep. Special plays. This guy. Yeah. That's why he's extremely hyped. Yeah. Yeah. Otherworldly. I'm gonna let him announce it. Hold on.
Yeah, six QBs drafted in the whatever that was, first 12 picks, and then none since then. Oh, this guy's having a great
Wild.
time in his Stroud jersey. That
It was
already
a
looks
6
old.
QB class. Safe to say.
And it's another tight end.
It's another tight end.
Yes.
Let me guess. Wiley.
Nope. Get your stoves ready. Yeah.
Over.
Over.
Has Wiley been taken yet? He hasn't.
No.
Not.
Fuck. No, Jerry.
I like Wiley a lot. Wiley at a TCU, correct? I like Wiley a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But hey, it doesn't shock me that Ben Sinnott, and yes, I would take Ben Sinnott over Javian Sanders. But that being said, Devontae Walker, I didn't get to finish my opinion on him. I saw him at Clemson, and man, talk about just an up and down game, because at the end of the first half, he took Nate Wiggins down the right sideline on a go route, outside release, and blew him away. And Drake May just cocked back, fired it, ran it down. Perfect. It was just perfectly thrown, perfect catch. And he toasted Wiggins. And then for the rest of the game, Wiggins wore him like a cheap suit. I'm talking the entire second half. He probably got 6 targets. He didn't catch nothing. Every inbreaker, everything that was a non-go route, Wiggins ate his lunch the entire game. So it's like I watched that. It's like, and that I watched a couple other games of his too. It's the same type deal. This sketch guy is good at something.
They just keep showing Stover with the cows,
massaging the cow,
the farm.
Yeah.
Here, which is hilarious.
Fascinating.
But, yeah. It's like, look at the form on him rubbing down the cow here.
This is what happens when you can't use all the tragedy porn.
Yes.
You just have to watch.
What? I'd much rather have.
I love this draft.
Cow.
Yeah, man.
Kyle likes
uncle
that.
Drowned in a river or whatever.
Right.
That, ESPN wants to talk about the worst day of his life every single time.
Yeah.
I hate that stuff. Oh, the Niners are up here. Did they trade up for the spot, or am I freaking out here?
Sure.
That Cal looks.
No, they had this. This is a Trey Lance pick.
Yes, it is.
Very nice of them. So Walker, that's the thing. It's like he's pretty much. I just look at him. He's straight deep speed. There's no nuance to his route running. There's not a lot of manipulation in his routes, and like with Javon Baker, who went right before him. He has that same profile. He doesn't have the speed. He just doesn't have the top end of, a guy like Walker. But he is that boundary receiver. But he's way more of a technician. Good in the intermediate. Can take it deep if he needs to. He doesn't have that blinding speed. But, like, technically, you can win at the top of the stem.
Does he have, like, Brandon Ayuk upside?
Javon Baker? Well,
not Baker. I meant Tez.
Oh, Tez? No. No, Ayuk's more tech. I mean, he can go down, but like he'll go across the middle. I don't see and the hands with Walker. He gets nervous hands. Okay. It's across the middle. He drops those because he's looking like sort of a thing.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he's a 4th rounder. I don't see him having that Ayuk upside. But he's going to challenge Bateman for that top field stretcher role opposite of the Z that is Zay Flowers, that multi-formation, move him everywhere. Somebody's got to take the top off the defense to open it up for Zay, and it's going to be Bateman or it's going to be Devontae. They're going to give one of them a shot. Is how I look at that.
Yeah, for sure.
The comp I saw for him before the draft was oh god, I just blanked on it. Mike Wallace.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. One trick pony from Ole Miss.
Mike
Wallace was good.
Yeah, it's just Devontae's not physical.
I don't know if you guys remember this. Mike Wallace was holding out for a contract, and Tomlin was so mad about it that he said, "We're not paying you any more money," and he gave Mike Wallace's money to Antonio Brown, and that's why AB stuck in Pittsburgh for so long.
Yep.
Was because he smoked him. So, Jesse, are you back? No worries if you have to leave. I see him. Oh, he had to bail. So, Jesse is gone, but all right. So Froton, wide receivers, the early wideouts, right? So how do you rank? Yeah, the top three of the top three. Harrison, Neighbors, Odunze doesn't matter on landing spot, correct? Just those are the top three.
Correct.
Okay. Who's four? Is it Worthy, Coleman, Ladd? Do you still like Brian Thomas? Adnai, Polk is a number one, maybe. Pearsall ended up in a good spot, but looks buried. Leggett could be a number one in Carolina if he can surpass Deontay. So who do you like at that fourth spot?
I do still like Brian Thomas. You know,
Okay.
I know he's kind of been the fourth throughout the process. Dude, I mean, is there something wrong with his landing spot? Being Trevor Lawrence's, potential number one? I mean, are we ready to put a fork in Trevor Lawrence here?
No.
He had some bad wide receiver play.
We had some bad coaching too.
Had some bad coaching. Had some bad receiver.
Urban Meyer, and I think Balky is not a good GM. The Trayvon I don't know how he still has a job. So
I can't believe he let his Jim Harbaugh personal rivalry not take Aiden Hutchinson. It's like,
yeah, I know, dude. You take Trayvon Walker because you hate Harbaugh and don't want to take his player. That is insane to me.
It's unbelievable.
Aiden Hutchinson is ready to go to the Niners.
Oh, that's a really good pick. Oh, he went to the Niners.
Yeah,
Mustafa. I like Mustafa a lot.
That's such a good pick. I like Mustafa more than Evan Williams, who went earlier, and I feel like I like Evan Williams more than the general public.
I like Mustafa more than Evan Williams.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. Man, that's a good pick for them. They need secondary help, and they're getting it. So they've done a good job filling in here.
Speaking of secondary help, well, yeah, with Mustafa, just so I want to talk about him, dude. For safeties that can walk up, I don't know if there's not a lot of pass rushers like off the blitz coming up from safety, from the strong safety position than Mustafa. Like 15 pressures and 8 TFL in 2022, right? 93rd percentile pass rush grade. Then goes out and runs, 206 for safeties. You got to remember, like, safeties aren't running 4.3s. He ran a 4.54.
Got a running back.
Yeah, but his vert, 41.5-inch vert, 22 bench reps. Bro, that's more than a lot of linebackers, 22 bench reps. A lot of linebackers. And he's 206, 5'10", right?
There are guys that you watch, right? You're just watching a game. You're not scouting. You're just watching a game and you go, this guy is different. And Mustafa is one of those guys. I feel like I watched Oregon a bunch and I thought that about Evan Williams as well, but I liked Mustafa a little bit more. I think that's a great pick. Bucky Irving to the Tampa Bay Bucks. Proton. Bucky to the Bucks. I like this pick a lot. More Oregon. The fourth round is 50% Oregon picks, by the way. This is crazy. What do you think of Bucky going to Tampa Bay?
I like it, obviously, and they obviously have a type because they got Rashad White there, who is a virtuoso pass catcher, especially in college. He was unreal. So is Bucky Irving. Bro, but he is second to nobody in terms of his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield from this class. No one. 52 of 58 receptions on targets. 58 targets for a running back in college. You don't see that.
Yeah, that's a lot.
12, 13 game. Like that is a ridiculous.
That was just last year. That's not his career. That's most people. That's most RBs. Like that's more than their career.
That's last year.
That's crazy.
Dodged 21 tackles on those 52 receptions. He's approaching an almost 50%, like 45% broken tackle rate. That's elite. 9.5 yards after contact yards after catch, on those receptions. Amazing. But what I really, really like, when you really know that somebody is a valued, versatile weapon out of the backfield, 10% of the time he lined up in the slot, 13% of the time on passing downs, he lined up wide. Almost 25%, almost 1 out of every 4 passing down snaps, he's lined up as a slot receiver. So you're talking about a guy who has so much, just is a versatile weapon. I couldn't believe he ran as slow as he did at the combine. I thought he'd be in the 4.3s. He ran as a 4.5, but I kind of see that speed as being Kyron Williams-esque. Kyron Williams ran a crap 42, while on tape you watch him and you're like, this guy is electric. He's electric. He's in terms of the A chain, the small back of this class that is just dynamic. And you don't have many backs in this class with that profile. All the other backs are 210 plus that are leading up to right here. Every single other guys we've mentioned. He's the small back that you look at and is like, he could be a fantasy asset in the right spot, in the right role. If you give him that passing down work, he could be dangerous in like a Jahmyr Gibbs role sort of way if you use him like that.
Yeah, the times did not match up with the play at all, right? That was the thing there, and I like that you're a guy that goes to the combine. You watch these drills; they are important. I don't respect them as much as I probably should, to be honest with you. I'm way more of a what did you do between the lines? I measurables. I like to see them. I like the info, but I think that it's closer to in the NFL, it's closer to a 50-50, mix here between measurables and what you did on the field and potential, right? But I think to me, it's more 80-20. Did you do it? Have you done it in a game before versus what are your measurables and your potential? So this is a guy that you have to have that mindset if you like Bucky Irving. You have to have that mindset of, well, look, these numbers are bad. I know he's not as bad as these numbers, right? So we're going to take him in the 4th anyway. They could have waited and taken somebody else, but they took him in the 4th. Top 50% of this draft here, just barely, but top 50% of this draft because he's picked at 125 and there's 257 picks. So, he is in the top half of the draft still. And go ahead, Xavier, please.
Yeah, when you watch a guy like Bucky Irving on tape, like you said, you go and see him at the combine. You look at the athleticism stats. You look at the fact that he didn't run a fast 40, and you watch his tape, and it's like not everybody on this field could be slow. There's just no way that everybody around him is like a 4.7 guy. I like sometimes guys just play faster or look faster on the field, right? In times when when we would play, you get scouting reports and hey, this guy looks a lot faster, on tape, or this guy looks a lot slower on tape. And you can just tell that sometimes guys who run a 4.5, you're like, well, on tape, you look like a 4.4 guy. And sometimes that's what matters. And when I look at Bucky, that's what matters. When he on tape, he looks like a 4.4 guy. He's running by people. He's making people miss consistently. And so I think he's going to be really good at the next level. In doing that, and I think with the proper touches, this is a guy who could really be explosive if they end up using him in the right way. I like the pick. I like Bucky a lot, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need more help back there. You can't let Rachaad White be the only guy back there for another year, taking the load like that.
Yeah, I think it's a great pick by the Bucs. We knew they were going to invest in a running back in this draft because they got nobody. They tried to go with Sean Tucker as a UDFA last year, who I like Sean Tucker, right? But he got hurt. They had nobody else. They had too many touches for a guy like Rachaad White. If he gets that many touches again for another season, he's most likely going to break down. Running backs just don't last that long. So let's see who the Lions taking here.
The Lions taking this massive human being from British Columbia.
Huh?
He's like 6'8". He's an offensive lineman. He's massive. Hold on. Let me get his name for you.
This is the governor of Michigan announcing this pick, of course. Who doesn't want politicians involved in the NFL?
Give me politics.
Giovanni Manu, British Columbia tackle, 6'8", 352 pounds.
Who the hell is this?
I have no idea who that guy is.
He played, he looks like he's a Canadian player, Canadian player. Yeah.
I had no
I
idea
thought
that was-
Stiggers.
Stiggers, yeah, he's the one.
Stiggers was
that
going to
I-
be the only Canadian football guy going
This guy
here.
is
even though
massive.
he's from Atlanta.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Giovanni Manu.
Canadian.
This guy is huge. I mean, look, I guess you put him. Hey, look, go
Is
learn
this
from
their
Penei
Jordan
Sewell.
Mailata or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, go learn from Penei Sewell, another massive human being.
Well, they got tape on him, 6'8", 352. Yeah. This is the first Who Is This guy, but
I did not write him up so I'm sorry, everyone at NBC. I didn't
write up the
this guy.
left tackle from the Canadian football whatevers.
No, I thought I was going to be cool writing up Stiggers. I was like, oh, I got Quantez Stiggers.
Oh, Will
Like,
Shipley
no.
goes to the Eagles.
Will Shipley?
The
Look at the
Shipley.
running back
Shipley
flying off
finally
the
went.
board here.
Wow, I was wondering
Shipley
when
to
Shipley
the
would go.
Eagles.
He actually got a 4th-round draft capital. The Eagles, good. He can go and be irrelevant there too. I hate him.
Oh, you hate him?
Hate
Well,
Shipley.
look, being behind
I gotta
Saquon
go
is
out.
not the best spot to be in, right?
No. Yeah. Well, he should have been behind my boy. You know who my boy is? We're
I
talking
don't know how to
Clemson
say
running
his name.
backs. My boy
Uh,
is Phil Maffa.
Phil Maffa? Oh, that's my guy.
I love
Yeah.
Phil Maffa. Dude, I have been offended at the depth chart of Clemson for the past 3 years that just because Will Shipley was considered a 5-star running back, he got to play in front of Phil Maffa. Well, this year it finally happened where Dabo looked at it and was like, geez, I have this absolute physical freak of things that, like, again, like Rook, you can't teach what Phil Maffa is. You can't teach what that man can do. And why Will Shipley is doing between the tackles work when he is at best a scat back, when you have a beast of a human being like Phil Maffa to carry the lunch pail when it's time to do the big boy work. He started getting all the inside carries this year, and it became real obvious real quick. It's like, all right, we just got to ride Maffa between the tackles. Stop it. Enough. So I've
How
always
about
had
Ray Davis to Buffalo?
Ray Davis. Yeah, boy. Yeah, Ray
I like
Davis.
that
Ooh,
pick.
we're getting some excitement now.
Yeah.
I like that pick.
A quick aside. So Phil went to Grayson, which is about 30 minutes away from where I grew up in Norcross. I love Phil Maffa. I watched him in high school. I was like, this kid's gonna be an animal, and so I'm excited to see what he's able to do now that he's gonna be the bell cow, down and down out bell cow. So yeah, and I like Ray Davis too. He got drafted simply from destroying Florida. Look,
The big blue wall, right? Isn't that what they called it?
what did he
The
have?
the O-line of
200
Kentucky.
He had like 200 and some change yards versus Florida this year. He ran all over them, and I was like, all right, yeah. So.
Dude,
Man.
Ray Davis, unbelievable story. Off the field stuff is great, obviously. You probably heard that done to death. This is an ESPN, so we won't hit you over the head with it, but he had some struggles coming up. But just to be successful at Temple and Vandy, to work your way up from Temple to Vandy, all the way up to Kentucky, premier team in the SEC, now to get drafted, in the 4th round. Just a great. I mean, this dude is just work. He is, and he's a workhorse too. Tough to be behind James Cook, but he's definitely going to get a look. And we were talking about the bigger guys surviving in Buffalo a little bit more. That's why if you're Buffalo, you take a Keon Coleman. The bigger dudes seem to do better. That's why you take Coleman over like an Adonai Mitchell or whatever, among other things. But Ray Davis going to work in Buffalo, he ain't going to care about the weather. Weather's not. You think the weather is going to bother
Ray with that? No way. I love Ray Davis.
I think so. He's a Bills player, and I think the fit is perfect. I love that landing spot for Ray Davis.
He had 280 yards against Florida. That's where I was like, I know he had a crazy game against Florida.
And his interview, he credited the O-line immediately. Immediately. Love Ray Davis.
I love that guy.
Such a good player. Excited. The Niners traded back up again, by the way.
You guys care if I spoil this one? It's another running back.
Go. Yeah, I want to hear it.
Isaac
Isaac Correndo, Louisville, former Wisconsin backfield made of Braylon Allen now gets drafted ahead of Braylon Allen after transferring out of Wisconsin. Good. Good. I am thrilled to see Braylon Allen's free fall. I told him, I can't believe the way that I knew from anybody on Twitter who was like, oh, I've got Braylon Allen as a top 5 running back. It's like, I never have to listen to their opinions on running backs ever again.
He's slow. He's too slow.
He's running in slow motion.
Yeah,
I'm watching defensive linemen, right, who are blocked. They're blocked. Here comes Ray. Here comes Braylon Allen tiptoeing through the line. They're actually disengaging and going backwards and making tackles. You don't see that at all with any other credible NFL caliber running back, where guys who are blocked are peeling off and getting them from behind. Like, it's not like if you hit that hole, they're through the hole. There's no chance you're blocked, you don't get them. I thought I was watching somebody running in slow motion. I have absolutely just had a distaste for Braylon Allen for years, and you are an idiot. Listen to me right now. If you are looking yourself in the mirror and you had Braylon Allen as a top 3 running back, you suck at evaluating running back play.
I think I actually think Baltimore, the next pick, wouldn't be a bad fit for Braylon Allen. You know, you're behind Derrick Henry.
Is our RB 10, 11, 12? Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
RB 3. I saw RB 2s out there. Disgraceful fantasy community. You need to do better. And you need to listen to people who aren't dumbasses.
It's the speed. You know, if you
can't unsee it. How do you watch tape and say Braylon Allen, top 5 running back in this class? You're an idiot, and you don't know what you're talking about. I hate fantasy. I hate. Nothing pisses me off more than these NFL guys who come down and it's NFL draft time. It's like, well, time to do some content. Time to start talking about some college football players I know nothing about. Giving
it's the same type of idiots that like Jatavian Sanders over Ben Sinnott, right?
Idiots who like Jatavian Sanders over Ben Sinnott, for instance.
Morons.
You know?
God.
Morons, mongoloids, simpletons.
At this
Not
point,
simps. Simps is the Zoomer term. No. The old man term.
Simpleton.
A simpleton. The wordsmith's term for it. That's what they are. Anybody who had Braylon Allen. Jatavian Sanders is much more defensible, and you know it, Bogman.
Yeah, I know.
Stop it. Braylon Allen, you ought to be ashamed.
On the Braylon Allen people.
Refine your process. If you had Braylon Allen as a top 5 running back, you're not getting it done.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Would you hate I know we like Garendo better and you hate Braylon Allen, but is it so bad to have Braylon Allen over Garendo, a guy that had to transfer when Allen came in and took the job from him? That's not crazy, right? It may not be the right evaluation to you, but it's not
crazy. No, I mean, I can understand the logic. Look, I'm talking top 5 here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't do that. Once you get out of the top 5, all right, fine. Like, we're in the 4th, 5th round.
I think initially I had Braylon Allen at 5, but it's because I hadn't watched anyone thoroughly yet. I hadn't watched Jalen Wright. I hadn't watched Tyrone Tracy as much. Like, you see him in the games, you know. I think I still have Braylon Allen ahead of like Will Shipley and Cody Schrader because
I hate Will
maybe
Shipley
not Schrader. I actually
with
really
a raging
like
passion. So I'm thrilled to see him go to Philadelphia to be irrelevant.
Baltimore.
TJ Tampa goes to Baltimore. Is that right?
Dude, TJ Tampa is the biggest follower of the entire draft.
Why? What did he do? This has to be off the field.
Just not know.
Or medical.
There was some medical, but I just
think this guy with this length.
Slow. He's slow.
I don't care.
Move him to safety. That's all I'm saying.
Play him in zone.
He's as far as athleticism is concerned, it's a little bit of more. Also, he wasn't as tall as I don't think people thought. I think people thought he was like 6'2", 6'3". He came in at 6 feet 7/8. So I think he was a little bit shorter than what people had him at. His arms are ridiculously long though. Oh, there goes your boy, Jared Wiley.
There he is, Jared Wiley.
Jared Wiley to the Chiefs. Man.
Hell yeah.
That's a good landing spot for him. That's a really good landing spot.
Now they're gonna run 3 tight end sets, and he's gonna be the. Oh God, he's gonna work.
Wow,
so
we went to the Chiefs.
yeah, he's gonna work so well. Yeah.
Riser, Jared Riley, Riser. Here we go. He's gonna take over for Kelsey.
He's gonna look.
Noah Gray is getting kicked to the curb. Sorry, Noah Gray, you're out, buddy.
I don't know. I still like Noah Gray.
Oh, I have no problem with that, but he's more of an H-back. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I think Wiley.
Yeah, he's more Chris Cooley-ish. I understand that.
To tie up Tampa real quick with him, I like they mentioned the basketball background, like an awesome basketball player. And as a basketball player myself, which is literally as soon as when I get off this stream, I'm going. Do not.
That's how Proton stays in shape.
Directly.
Proton
to the
is 76 years old. Did you know that?
I'll be
on. Great.
I'm one of those rare guys who like exaggerates his age on the old side, so that people are like, "Wow, you look good."
I'm gonna start doing that. I'm 49, you guys.
Yeah,
so you know.
57. Yeah.
You're not 57. Shut up. Are you?
No,
you're not 50,
of course. I'm just having fun. What?
You're not 50, are you?
No, good. I'm not even close.
Yeah, I didn't think you're 44.
Biological age, I'm like 35. Biological.
Yeah. If you ask the doctors that train me,
that's the doctors. They'll look at me like, "What are you here for? Why are you in my office?"
My doctors are like, "You're 68,
specimen.
and your blood type is cheeseburger." I don't know how you did it, but
just remember,
it's unbelievable. So
early 40s, and I'm still housing guys who are 26 years old, like Xavier. All right, I'm not kidding. Nobody wants to see me say, "All right, I got you on the basketball court."
6'5", like
nobody. Yeah, 6'3". I'm 6. I've lost an inch in
6'3". Yeah,
6'3", 210.
Picking on the 5'8" guys over
210. I can cover up to 6'7", 270. Like I could cover all the way up to 6'8", 6'9". It doesn't matter.
It's the Proton basketball scouting report.
I'm the ultimate, up and down. But my comfort zone's in the paint. Let's be honest. I like being in the paint. I like protecting the rim. You're coming into my world. If you want to try to come make a rim run, you're gonna get my elbow in your chest. Don't you rim run on me. Don't you dare. And trust me, if I am guarding you, there will be no shots for you all game. I wear people out defensively. And everybody likes to say that, "Oh, I'm a really good defender." No, I mean, I'm talking like absolutely praying mantis. Please leave me alone, Froton. No, I want to be able to shoot. I just want to play a game of basketball. And then I'll take you down on the other end and take you on the block.
I'll play horse.
Deep end. Drag you in the deep end. Anyways, but with TJ Tampa, Xavier was right on the money about him. 4'5", 840, 164, 10-yard split. Most edges are doing better than a 164, 10-yard split. But like he was saying, he was just a dog. That's what got him by. He was an absolute animal on the line. He wants to get right up on you, and he wants to just physically punch you, kick you, whatever it takes. His compete is off the charts. But man, like you're saying, I thought he'd be a day 2 cornerback, and here we are at the end of round 4.
Yeah,
and that's why he doesn't have the athletic profile, and he's just.
But I mean, you go to Baltimore, and you're part of a zone. You don't have to be as fast. That's why I wanted him for Pittsburgh too.
And you're an animal.
Pittsburgh man's up more than they have in the past.
Pissed. Ooh, he's got an edge to his play, and sometimes you don't see DBs who have that edge.
Yeah, they're all the guys that don't the DBs that don't have that edge. They're wannabe wideouts. I feel like.
Yeah, that kind of is an element to that. Yeah. What are you going to do in run support? They're going to run at you. They're going to run to your side all day. I'm going to get washed out.
Yeah. So, all right, Proton. So let's go back to the wide receivers. So it's Harrison, Neighbors, Odunze, right? Those are your top 3. Who is 4? Is it Worthy, Coleman, McConkey? It's Brian Thomas.
I like Thomas, but my 5. So yeah, Thomas, but then my 5, and it's been my 5 throughout the process, even before the combine. Frankly, is Worthy. And, I'll tell you, Boggsy. You know what I like about Worthy? I like, obviously, let's get it out of the way. Let's get it out of the way right now. Everyone's talking about it. He's 165 pounds. He's 165.
Yep.
He's light. There's no way around that. But look at last year's class, right? Addison is in the 170s. Jackson Smith and Jigbo wasn't a giant.
Zay Flowers,
Josh Downs, like the whole Dell, all those guys who succeeded out of that class.
You can make up for height with speed. You can.
Separators, explosive traits like that. That's Zay is explosion. And that's what Worthy has. Is explosiveness. And here's the thing, right? I'm gonna go through it. Let me take you for a little walk with Elias.
Dude, the Lions need to take Malik Washington here, by the way. I think.
Nope.
Oh, I love Malik Washington so much.
Yeah.
You know that. I'm a little disappointed he hasn't been taken, but it's only the 4th round.
As a former Sione Vaki from Utah.
My boy, Sione Vaki. I have him on one of my C2C teams.
So my question for you guys is, what position is he playing? You going to safety or running
safety?
Back?
Safety.
For my C2C teams, it's going to be a running back. God damn it.
I was like, you got an IDP league there, Froton? I like it.
I guess.
Yeah, he's a safety. And that's what they need, too. They don't need another running back in Detroit. Come on.
It's fine. He played alongside my cousin, Cole Bishop, at Utah.
I had no idea you were related to Cole
pick.
Bishop. That's awesome.
I love Cole Bishop so much as a prospect.
Cole Bishop's my cousin, legit. Fun fact: Cole Bishop, I think it's in my NBC write-up, and myself, cousins with the greatest defenseman in the history of U.S. hockey, the great John Carlson of the Washington.
Oh, John Carlson. Okay.
Oh yeah, just John Carlson. Yeah, just him. Yeah, the Washington Capitals.
I remember the Keeping Carlson hockey podcast named after Carlson. So
he's the great John Carlson. He looks like Henry Cavill.
It's Carlson with a K, right?
No, C. John Carlson.
C.
But regardless, John Carlson. Anyways,
I was thinking you Vikings. Yeah,
of course. Look at all this.
Weird.
Eric Froton, Cole Bishop, John Carlson.
Yeah,
all the same bloodline, right there.
The supreme athletes,
right there.
U.S. hockey, Utah, rec league basketball. It's all the same.
If you say two-sport collegiate athlete, 2-time college sports writer of the year for the FSWA, two-time Booker T style.
Kelly Kirby, the wonky penguin, joining us here. What is going on, Kelly? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm a little tired. Keeping track of all the pricks has been a lot of fun, but yeah. How are you guys?
Been crazy. Yeah, doing great here. The Vikings fan, Kelly, tell us your excitement about McCarthy and the Vikings class so far. It has been really good, even though it's only been 3 picks, I think, so far, right?
Yeah.
I think it's only been 3. I'm not used to a Vikings draft that I don't hate. So this is like a new realm for me, trying to understand. I was really excited that we didn't trade up for McCarthy. I know we traded 1 pick, but I was really afraid we were gonna just give away
trade
the
both
farm
first, move up to 5.
Yeah, and I just felt like he wasn't worth that, but I didn't mind moving up from 11 to 10. So I liked that pick.
So where are you putting? We were talking about quarterbacks before.
Okay.
Caleb is 1, right? And so we're doing dynasty here. Is it McCarthy 2 for you, or is it Jaden at 2? Is it Drake May still, or is it you can be a little homerish. It's Kevin O'Connell. It's the Vikings pass the ball more than any other offense last season, so it makes sense. He doesn't have the rushing upside of Jaden Daniels, but he does have rushing upside, probably 300 yards, 400 yards. Sean Lobb was on here yesterday talking about 300 to 400 yards. There goes Braylon Allen to the Jets, Froton. But Kelly, your thoughts about who is the number 2 quarterback for Dynasty? Is it McCarthy or Jaden Daniels?
Oh, I don't know. I'm supposed to have a really strong opinion. I like McCarthy because look who he has to throw to. So right. I feel like if he adopts the Justin Jefferson, throw it high, throw it far, let him go get it type of theory, he'll do really well. But I keep forgetting about Jordan Addison with regard to what he's able to do, and Hawkinson is a beast. So he's just set up, and O'Connell's system is really good. So I will absolutely homer this and say that I'll go with him too. I love Daniel's upside with regard to rushing. And I'm interested to see how the Bears do this with so he's got three really good wide receivers. How are they going to balance that?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Say that again, Xavier.
I love this pick. You're going to love this pick. Everybody who's afraid of the 49ers, though, is going to hate this pick. They went and got Tet.
Who? Oh, they got the
No, not
kid
Ted,
from
but the kid out of Arizona.
McLaughlin.
Jacob Cowing. No, Jacob
Oh,
Cowing.
Cowing. Oh,
Yes.
Cowing.
Yes.
Man, yeah, that's a dangerous pick for the night. Why the hell are they drafting all these wideouts?
Because they're trying to gut their wide receiver room.
They're going to trade Debo and Ayuk? I mean,
I don't think you could pay both. So
they already paid Debo. He's on the payroll. So this is
those selections. Cowing and Pearsall. Man, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, look, Cowing can make the moves, right?
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised. I'll say this. I do not agree with Cowing going over Malik Washington. Everybody else, though, Taj, I do like Brendan Rice. I know the NFL doesn't like him as much as I do, but I do like Brendan Rice a lot. Is everybody else's picture freaking out here? Just mine. I got like a gray screen right now.
Are you on NFL? What are you watching it on?
I'm on network.
I'm on network too. I don't have a gray screen.
Huh. Everything just freaked out. Maybe it's Fubo.
Okay, but
Not
yeah,
sure.
I mean, I get it. I feel like this. They're gonna ask him to return kicks. Remember, they lost Ray McLeod in free agency, so they'll definitely be looking for a guy there to do that kind of work. It helps to have another 5'8" guy running a 4.3 back there, so he should add some value in the special teams. But if they let him play receiver, he'll be excellent. I like him a lot.
Yeah, I'm just not getting NFL Network on Fubo, so I had to pop over to ESPN here. So now I'm going to see the worst thing that happened to all of these prospects in their life every single time here. Cowing is a good pick. Garundo, this is a good class here. I know Welsh likes it too because it's offensive players. So,
absolutely.
yeah. What do you think of
Braylon
Cowing?
Allen? Braylon Allen went to the New York Jets, guys?
The Jets with a history of drafting.
Love it. As a Patriots fan, you know how happy I am to see that after the rant I just went on about Braylon Allen. Oh, it's glorious.
Well, the good thing is
Jacob Cowing.
Just real quick with Breece Hall there, Braylon Allen is not going to touch the football very much. So,
it's a dead pick.
Abanikanda, I think, is
irrelevant pick.
Probably.
Yeah, I'd way rather
have
have Israel Abanikanda. That's like a comfortably would rather have Israel Abanikanda over him. But with Cowing, man, talk about another guy who just worked his way up from the G5 at UTEP. It was I think he might have led the target. He was top 3 in the country in targets one year. Like, he just got peppered. He was clearly the best guy, almost pretty much in the CUSA. Goes up to Arizona, as you see the highlights now. And in 2022 was the wide receiver 1 as Tet went and cut his teeth coming over from Servite High School with Noah Fafita. Great job, Jedfish, bringing him over to Arizona. And now Jedfish departs and comes Brian Brennan, and they stay. So Arizona is going to be a fun team to watch this year. Anyways, kind of took a more traditional slot role this year, like wide receiver 2 to next year's wide receiver 1 of the 2025 class, Teteroa McMillan. But really crafty, very, very crafty, has the high-end speed to like take it deep. He had a hard time at the Senior Bowl really separating himself and differentiating against the higher end cornerbacks. And he did have a lot of talent around him. He was in a pretty good system that kind of catered to his skill set. Had an issue with the agility times weren't particularly good. Isn't an exceptional athlete, 63rd percentile RAS, but he ran a 4.38, so he's got the high end speed. For this, for the purposes, what team took him again? Was it San Fran?
Yeah, San Francisco.
So, I mean,
they got to be trading Jennings, I think.
That's a Jennings succession plan. They're like, all right, we had the big slot here because he was slow, Jennings. You remember?
Well, they took Pearsall, too.
4.68.
They took Pearsall
And
in the
Pearsall,
first.
holy crap! You give Pearsall
Yeah.
and Dowling. That's
Yeah.
a different mold than the Jennings slot. I mean, Pearsall's an outside. He'll play the Ayuk role, really. I
Yeah.
would see.
I mean, Pearsall can play
Pearsall.
wherever. It doesn't matter. Like
Pearsall.
he is
Pearsall's
not dependent on scheme.
hands.
He's just good.
His
Yeah.
hands.
Reliable.
Oh
Reliable.
my God! Not just real spectacular
Nehemiah Pritchett.
and reliable. Keon
Nehemiah
Coleman makes
Pritchett
the
to the
big
T
highlight
Pickens.
catches. But man, Pearsall.
So all right. Kelly, running backs here.
Mhm.
We've seen, a whole slew of them went in the fourth finally, but it's been, JB to Carolina, Benson to the Cardinals, Corum to the Rams, Wright, Ray Davis, Marshawn Lloyd, Bucky Irving, Will Shipley, Garendo, and Braylon Allen have been drafted. Is it just a clear top three between Brooks, Benson, and Corum? Because Lloyd, everybody likes Lloyd. I know D-Bro's number one running back, right? But he is in Green Bay behind Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, he's
So
in a terrible situation.
Yeah, it's not great. So what do you think about the RBs so far?
I like the order that they've gone in. I wasn't surprised to see them just start to fall off the board, once we got out of the first two rounds. But yeah, what order did you put them in?
So the way I have him, it's a clear top three to me in Brooks, Benson, and Corum.
Okay. Yep. So I mean, I like the Benson and the Corum picks. Where did Brooks go? I'm sorry.
Carolina.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, and I like him there too, because I think he's got a very clear path to playing time. I mean, who is going to stop him?
Not Miles Sanders or Chuba Hubbard, not for my Texas guy.
I mean, he's gonna just run right over him. So yeah, and I feel like I read this morning that they've got a pretty easy out of both of those contracts. Like they can just cut Sanders with a very low cap hit. So yeah, so I really like where he went. I feel like he gives them a weapon that they definitely didn't have last year.
So. How about Jalen Wright in Miami? Because Jalen Wright's very good. I like the player. The landing spot had me queasy to start because you still have Mostert. Mostert gets hurt a lot though. You have Achane. Achane is not a guy that's going to take 20 touches though. He's a 10 to 15 touch guy. So I'm warming up to it because the potential in that system is amazing. We saw Mostert score 17 touchdowns or 21 touchdowns or whatever the hell he scored last year is unbelievable. So there is upside, but you got to climb up the depth chart at this point. I don't know that that's going to be hard for Wright, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think in a lot of occasions, and that's where we're going to at least start this season, in my opinion. So what do you think of Wright going to Miami?
I think it's going to get real confusing for fantasy purposes. Like, again, that was one of those backfields last year that it was what's going to happen. I mean, everybody had Achane on their bench the 1 week, except for one person I saw their spouse played both running backs when they scored like 6 or 7 or whatever. But Wright gives them depth that if Mostert goes down, if Achane goes down, they've got kind of this. He should be able to fit in the system pretty quickly. But yeah, I think for this year anyway, it causes a little bit of a log jam that it'll be tough for people to decide who to draft, I think.
So between Ray Davis going to Buffalo, Lloyd going to Green Bay, Bucky Irving to Tampa Bay, Will Shipley to Philly, Garendo to San Francisco, and Braylon Allen to the Jets. We heard Froton talking all that smack about Braylon Allen earlier. He's not a Braylon Allen fan. He loves him going to the Jets because he is Tarheeb still for the Chargers. Interesting pick there. Maybe a reach, maybe Jack Reacher going on over there. But do you have a running back that you like out of that group between Davis, Lloyd, Irving, Shipley, Garendo, and Allen?
I kind of like Shipley going to Philly. I feel like that's a nice fit for him too, that if they figure out how to use him behind, oh God, I'm totally blanking. Saquon, thanks. And you want to talk about, injury prone. So I like his fit. I feel like he will fit in there with them. So of that group, he's the one that I'm excited for. As a Vikings fan, I'm kind of happy that Green Bay took Lloyd and they're just gonna like sit on him. Because I mean, Jacobs is injury prone, and then it's AJ Dillon. I just feel like it's gonna be
he'll pass
tricky.
Dillon so fast, right?
I know, but that's what everybody says. And then Dillon comes in and vultures TDs all season. So it's
well,
just,
Dillon is a goal line. He's a big back, right? So
Right.
it makes sense to use him in those short yard situations. But
Right.
Proton, you got to go play basketball. You getting ready here, or you just wanted to show off the
Obviously.
gun show here?
Well, yeah, come on. You know, I went old school for you guys. Throw on my old jersey for before I go and hit the court and wreak havoc on my friends' lives for a good hour and a half by
That's right,
dominating them on the hardwood. That's how I roll. Yeah,
do it, man.
Yeah, make everybody's life miserable.
Yeah,
love
absolutely.
Just like every Patriots fan.
Yeah, I'm a true Patriots fan, obviously.
Right.
And I'm letting them know it as I'm doing it, of course.
I'm sure you do.
Right.
I'm not subtle about it.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, if you guys didn't hear it earlier, this is, you know, because Froton has lived all over the place, so he doesn't really have that crazy, you know, Boston accent that a lot of Bostonians have, but he definitely saw a guy or two. That's my favorite, how you saw him.
Dude, if you want me to go to my Boston accent, I can do it, brother.
I don't.
Okay?
It's fine. No.
We're good without it.
Trust me, I sounded like every single other Boston guy when I was growing up.
Peta.
I can show you the old pictures, brother. Don't worry about it.
Not to deviate, but I had a friend of mine lives in Boston, and she came to visit, and it was the Giants Patriots Super Bowl with the helmet catch. And as that game went on, her accent got worse and worse and worse. And when he caught that pass, I was like, there are no R's left in this game. Like it is done. And then she went outside.
Dude, how did he catch that ball, kid?
She went outside. I think she might have smoked like 9 cigarettes in like 5 minutes. It was just it was the
light
most
the next
Boston
one
thing.
with the dying one. Yeah,
it was the most Boston thing I've ever been a part of. So
you got a wonderful, authentic Boston experience too. That is like a pinnacle of Boston misery. That game, both those Super Bowls. So, congratulations on getting a true experience
with each drink. More and more Boston came out. I'm sure that's the way it goes.
So many.
I get to sound real rednecky when I'm a couple shots in there. So, yeah,
Xavier's really impressed. Are you?
You know the thing is about the redneck accent, though. It's an endearing one to where when you're around that and you hear it, you start adopting it. I'll start it. Even me. As northern and as coastal as it gets, as Yank as it gets, I will start speaking in somewhat of a southern accent if I'm around it, if I'm around that. Nobody who's not from Boston just starts talking like that because I'm around a bunch of Boston people. Nobody adopts that accent. It's like, good God.
No.
Like, there's something cute about that drawl, but there's nothing cute about it.
I mean, with the drawl, it's like they just add vowels. Whereas Boston drops all of them. So like in the South, like they say, hey, there's 4, it's like, hey,
hi,
like, it's whereas in Boston, I'm like, no, I like my R's. Those are great.
Much more expeditious. Much more expeditious. We just want to get through it as fast as possible. It's very Boston in that.
Whereas I'm in the Midwest, so I mean, I go down south and they just start making fun of how O's sound coming out of my mouth, and I'm not even from Minnesota originally. So you should hear my wife. My wife talks to her family at home, and I'm like, oh my God.
Your accent is straight on the money, to be honest. You have a really clean, like very neutral accent, but I'm the same way. I say a boot. I don't know why.
Okay.
You part Canadian too?
Yeah,
I'm French Canadian, part of me. I think that's the nature part as opposed to the nurture. Right?
There you go.
Yeah, I always think that I don't sound like I'm from the South at all. I think that, but then there's like the word 9. I say 9 all the time.
Yeah, there you
9, 89, 99. Yeah. So there's like certain words that I'll just hit it with. So but I did like when I was 12 when I moved to Arizona, and they made fun of me unmercifully. So I like cut y'all out of my repertoire. I tried to curb my accent so much to sound not get made fun of was basically the deal because they were brutal
Oh yeah.
in Arizona. So I think I've cut a lot of it, but then I moved back to Texas. I'm like, hey y'all, glad to be back. Nice to be here around all my fellow kin. I love y'all.
I can barely even understand when you get the deep Texas accent. I have to.
Well, dude, I mean,
my
you watch
way
Last
through it.
Chance U, you know,
Yeah, like-
the country. They had to. These guys are speaking English. They had to have closed captions for them, you know, because it's just you get close to the south and you know it goes fast and you can't understand.
Oh, it's
So,
fantastic.
It's
There's
a
nothing like
tough two-step.
can you say that again? I didn't get it, honey. Let's hear it again one more time for me, please. You know,
That's fantastic. There's nothing like it. Look, I originally from Georgia, dad's from New Orleans. There's nothing like all of the random different accents in the South. And the deeper you go, the less and less actual English it is. It's amazing. It's dude, Everybody
so we got a bunch of defensive picks. We're in the fifth, by the way. We are officially in the fifth round.
Xavier
we have
Thomas
crossed over.
We've just been rolling through D.
Yeah.
It's phrasing. Nehemiah Pritchett to Seattle.
Yep.
Tarheeb still
Tarheeb
to the Chargers. What do you think of that one, Froton? Because I didn't see Still get mocked a lot. I didn't put him in my mock, and here he is in the fifth, not top half of the draft, but just slightly under the first half. So, your thoughts on Still from Maryland?
Yeah, I think as far as writing them up, I think I had passed them off to my boy Krugs. So I did
priority free agent more likely is what we saw. But
no, I did nominal work on it. But he's a Maryland DB. It's
they're usually pretty good.
From when I had remembered looking at him, he was like the nickel guy behind our boys Deontay Banks. Who was the other one? They had two awesome cornerbacks, and he got to do like the whole apprenticeship thing and does got to kind of learn the technique, do the fall behind, but wasn't like the high end production guy in 2022. And then this year comes out and fucking led a good, again, a team that has a history for having a good secondary in interceptions, second team Big Ten, which, I mean, the Big Ten and the SEC now at this point with where they're at in their development, they're the ones who are putting the majority of the players out there. Like if you're succeeding in the Big Ten, you're succeeding. It's just where he would get hurt is at the top of routes. He'd get turned around a little bit and he didn't have the recovery speed. Like speed's good, but he didn't kind of recover as well as you'd like him to. He's not a big corner. You know what I'm saying? And the arm length is what I think is going to pigeonhole him in the slot. You don't see a lot of successful outside corners with sub 30-inch arms. You want to have 32, 31, at least, if you're anything longer than that, and you're a real problem in terms of your ability to probe and jam and do all that. So I see him as a slot corner. That's why he's down here in the fifth, and perhaps he, fills a role probably better in zone as opposed to a man scheme. But luckily, most defenses play zone nowadays.
The Commanders just took Jordan McGee, linebacker from Temple. I like that pick as well. I think there is opportunity to be had in the Commanders' secondary, their defense overall. I was kind of surprised. I don't think Washington has added an edge rusher yet. And I know they brought guys over from Dallas because Dan Quinn came over there, but it's just been Johnny Newton is the only defensive lineman that they've added, and they need edge, I feel like, a decent amount. So kind of surprised they haven't added anyone there. But getting back to wide receivers here, Kelly. So I have Worthy as my 4. Big shock. Everyone's surprised. Keon Coleman as my 5. Froton still likes Brian Thomas in Jacksonville. Brian Thomas is a great prospect. I think he could easily be 4. His class is deep, though. Who do you have? We know the top 3. Who do you have after the top three? Who's 4 and 5 to you?
4 and 5 to me. I mean, I was confused. I was one of those people that was trying to figure out why Buffalo just gave Kansas City Worthy.
Yeah.
And not as a like, I mean, I get it and everything else, but I was like, you have a clear need and there's a clear guy. But that actually scares me a little bit. Kansas City wide receivers are not like fantasy
They
wise
haven't been
my
successful.
favorite. Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's Tyreek and then there's just kind of who are we drafting and hoping for.
Well, Rice was good, but who knows how long he's
Right.
going to be missing this year. So.
So it's like, but the Sky Moore hype and the Kadarius Toney hype when he moved over there, it was just, I don't know if it's a thing with Mahomes, but I think if anybody's going to do it, then Worthy is going to do it. I also like Pearsall going to San Francisco for the same reason that you guys were talking about earlier. Just the hands, like his ability to catch in what's
traffic.
That was the word. Thanks. I've really been doing a lot of news this week. Okay.
No, I got you. No,
so yeah, so I mean, it's like, but for San Francisco, like what they're looking to improve on, he gives them just a whole different type of weapon. And with Purdy playing quarterback, it's like if you can give him a little bit more help, so that they don't have to succeed by catching things off other teams' helmets, like it will probably go better for them this year. So.
Is that a Hillsborough Hops hat?
Yeah.
Real quick. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I noticed. So
thanks.
Yeah. D-backs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rep
sure.
the D-backs. By the way, thank God, Froton, I'm getting off the air last night, and Vinny down on the farm hits me up and says, "Sorry about Zach Gallen." And I
saw your tweet.
I've had such a good day. The Steelers did such a good job drafting, and then I'm like, what happened to Granke? I see the replay. No update for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Said,
what happened?
It's hamstring.
Yeah. So we're sitting there. I don't know.
I know.
Yeah. So we're sitting there. I work for the MLB social media team. So we're sitting there all like, and we're like, is Zach being pulled? Uh-oh.
He didn't even throw a warm-up pitch.
We're like, what's wrong with Gallen? Because obviously, we're all on like 10 because obviously we just lost Strider, and we're just like,
so many elbow injuries this year.
We can't just keep losing guys around the league. We're gonna have nobody left. So, it's like Jesus. So.
It's funny. I did the FSGA, like they do a gambling league where you pick different isolated bets for the MLB, NBA, all that sort of stuff. And I specifically concentrated, you have a budget to do it. I took like 3 different pitcher under strikeout totals based on elbow injuries alone. Like, give me these hard throwers, and I'm just going to fade all of them, and I'm going to hit 2.
Flip a coin. They're going to get hurt. I mean, that's the way the baseball is now, but,
It's like a rite of passage. It's Tommy John surgery is nothing nowadays. It's just part of the deal. So we'll see how that all pans out, of course. But I mean, scary.
Yeah. Getting back to football, which we probably should. Guthrie asked, are there any centers worth trading back in for? He just got drafted. Cedric Van Pran went to Buffalo. I think that is but Hunter Norzad from Penn State, another center. Who is there another one I'm forgetting, Froton? Any other centers that are worth taking or moving up for in this spot?
I would say I like,
because Zinter went yesterday.
I like Kingston for USC. Jared Kingston. You can kick around him.
Okay.
Like, he could have been, if he was out last year, he's probably a 3rd-round pick. But, the USC offensive line was much maligned, shall we say. Is Nugent still available? Drake Nugent?
Yeah, Nugent's still out there. Bo Limmer still available.
Dude, Limmer and Nugent, bang, bang. Those would be the 2 I'd go for right away.
Dylan McMahon played center too, right?
Limmer is a brick of a human being, by the way. 39 bench reps out of Limmer. Over there
how about
Bortolini? That's the dude
went.
I go with. I mean, his movement skills isn't. And you need movement out of his.
He went to Indy.
Yeah.
Who did?
Bortolini.
Bortolini.
Bortolini,
Charles
yeah,
Turner
big.
still available
He-
too. LSU.
Bortolini's
So there are some
tall.
centers left for sure.
Mhm.
So long. Yeah, this centers, like you said. I mean, we just gave 3 good
Panthers
ones.
still need
So-
one.
And we said Norzad too.
My short
Dude.
kings are going off the board. I love it.
Cam Hart to the Chargers.
I like Cam Hart.
I like Cam
Oh,
Hart.
Good
Chargers
pick,
with
too.
another good pick. Oh,
Yeah.
I hate
He just needs time to develop. Give him
Harbaugh
time.
sucks. I hate Harbaugh.
Yeah, give him time.
So
I met Harbaugh
Kelly,
at Indy.
wide receivers here. So we talked about the big ones. How about some of these guys down the board? We had McCaffrey go
Mhm.
to Washington. We had Polk end up in New England, Leggett in Carolina, McMillan at Tampa Bay, Franklin in Denver, Roman Wilson to the Steelers, Malachi Corley to the Jets, Baker to New England, Burton to Cincinnati, Tez Walker to Baltimore, and Cowing to San Francisco so far. Still no Malik Washington, by the way, which
Yeah.
is surprising to me.
I was
But,
just looking.
who do you like out of the like kind of secondary wide receivers there? Is there one that stands out to you?
That was a really long list that I enjoyed.
It was.
I think, see, it's such a weird quarterback. I just want to, as a Vikings fan, I thought it was hilarious when the Jets did not take a wide receiver early because everybody hates Aaron Rodgers now and just doesn't want him to have anyone to throw to, which has been his whole thing, right? Anyway, that aside, yeah, I mean, I'm looking. I like Keon Coleman to the Bills. I just feel like they need to load up on wide receiver and see.
I think he's great. I put him in that worthy category.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
liked him. So I give them credit for coming back and kind of picking somebody else up. I just think Worthy would have been a better fit. But yeah, so he's one that jumped out at me. And then who was the other one you said? Hold on, I'm just looking at the list. I don't hate Franklin to Denver, like for where they picked him.
Got his quarterback from college.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like it's not going to be pretty for a couple of years, but he might be able to.
They should be losing a lot, so playing from behind. So
he could rack up a lot of garbage points. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So those are the two that out of that list that just kind of jumped out. I mean, I guess I'm not overly familiar. With McCaffrey kind of coming in like hot, it's like I know about him. I know what he can do.
I thought he was going to go in the 4th or 5th, and he ended up in the 3rd.
Yeah,
so I was kind of surprised by that. I know that Froton, what is your thought on McCaffrey? Because I know our boy Debro really liked him, seeing him at the Senior Bowl, because it was weird. Like I heard Debro say, I saw him, he looked good, I liked him as a slot option, but then I got some reports that he was getting beat a lot at the Senior Bowl. So he's a McCaffrey. We know he's super athletic. We know that, but he switched positions. He got kicked around a little bit. So, Froton, what is your take on McCaffrey and the landing spot in the Cliff Kingsbury offense in Washington?
Well, I was actually at the Senior Bowl with Debro and Thor and the Fantasy Pros crew in doing, some freelance work. Because as you know, Boggsy, I did do a show with Fantasy Pros.
That's right.
Football season on Sunday night, an early line show for college football. So I am an extended member of the family. And I was there with all those guys. So I was watching McCaffrey with Debro and Thor, and we actually all gave grades for each of the players that we saw there, and ranked them at the end of it and what have you. And I had McCaffrey much lower than either Thor or Derek did, because I kind of have a better understanding. And I mean, in terms of the full life cycle of Luke McCaffrey, that I don't think that maybe Debro is accounting for. And it's simply that, I mean, he was a guy who went to Michigan as a quarterback. Okay, like the sky was the limit. He's going to be the greatest thing in the world, and it didn't work.
He was supposed to be McCarthy.
Supposed to be McCarthy. He was not. He was McCaffrey.
Yeah.
So he transferred to Nebraska. Again, still trying to be a QB. All right, let's have a go at this. And it doesn't work out again. But he goes and switches over to have a more skill position type role, and he has some success. And he's pretty good. There's some promise there. But rather than stay there at Nebraska and compete in the Big Ten, he goes and he transfers down to Rice. to food. One of the, I would say, lower rung schools of the group of five. I mean, at least in the AAC, they're a bottom dweller.
So Harvard of Texas, Rice.
Yeah, they're the Harvard of
So-
Texas. It's like, okay, I mean, I know he's a sharp kid, and that's great, and I'm sure it bodes well for his future prospects outside of football. But do you want to see a kid who starts out in Michigan and transfers down twice, switches positions, when he has a chance to establish himself in an elevated level of play at said position, he opts to go down and be Godzilla in Tokyo?
It's
Okay.
tough, man. It is, because we know the family's athletic. We know Christian is one of the best players in the NFL. We know Ed was one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. So we know the pedigree is there.
Yeah, well, that's
It's
what
just-
is there. The pedigree is there.
But
So
none of it
is
came out in his collegiate career,
Giannis
really.
Antetokounmpo. Okay.
Yeah.
He's there at the end of the bench. Hey, Giannis, you're gonna come over. You're the tax for Giannis, and you're gonna come over and you're play at the end of the bench, and you're gonna hang out and be a really good guy, a solid locker room personality. And thank you, Giannis. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, Luke McCaffrey has a pretty limited skill set when it comes to what I think translates to that level. I'd see gadget potential. Are we talking about a fully formed fantasy asset here that you're going to go out and
So is
be able to get
McCaffrey
anything out of?
Tutu Atwell? Is that what
I
he
think
is?
he's just a specialist. I don't think he's anything
Third
special.
round.
I think he's just a guy who is a sub package. I don't see a fully rounded skill set that will translate. And the way he catches the ball, look, he made some catches in the Senior Bowl, but like Boggsy kind of alluded to, I thought he was below the level of competition there. I thought he was outshined, and the way he catches the ball, he kind of floats into it as opposed to attacking the ball.
Xavier's
going
taking
across
off
the
real
middle.
quick after the Falcons.
I am
pick
too,
of
actually.
JD Bertrand. So
Yep.
thank you,
Sorry.
Xavier.
Yeah,
I
no
appreciate you coming on. What do you think of this pick real quick before you go?
We needed depth at linebacker. He actually reminds me of one that we already have in Nate Landman. So
Yeah.
Landman Jr.
love
is what I've
Landman.
already said. So yeah, that's exactly who he reminds me of. So I'm okay with it. I hope that we attack the secondary at some point here with our 3 6-round picks. If that doesn't if that doesn't turn into a trade backup, but I'm cool with it. So yeah, thank you guys for having me on. Yeah, y'all have a great rest of your day.
You too, Xavier. Thanks, man,
Later,
for
Xavier.
coming
Thank
in and
See
spending
ya.
so much time, man. Appreciate you. So, all right. So, yeah. So McCaffrey is basically not a Froton guy. So Froton between McMillan, Roman Wilson, Corley, Burton, Baker, Walker, Cowing. Who stands out in that group of those second guys that have been taken?
I think you got Baker in there.
Yep.
Obviously, we talked about a little bit, and you got to be intrigued by the reforming of the Patriots wide receiver room. Going and getting Polk early, investing in him after trading back and getting essentially a pick that ended up being Javon Baker, which that's kind of what happened is they moved up 27 picks from moving back and allowing the Chargers to take McConkey. They got Polk. And then this allows them, instead of a, late mid fifth, they traded up into that Chargers spot in the early fourth or wherever it was to get Baker. So it kind of gave them the ability to be a little more aggressive, doing that little 5-pick drop, getting Polk, turning a fifth into an early fourth, which is a guy that, frankly, I think you speak of Derek, I know Debro loved Javon Baker, and he's a guy that at the Senior Bowl, unlike what I saw from McCaffrey, who I felt was a little outshined, I felt like Baker was right there. He's a crafty boundary receiver. He doesn't have the high-end speed. We talked about it a little bit there, but he does have the ability to tear the top off. I mean, to be crafty and to win in the middle ranges between the 10 and the 20-yard range when he's getting targeted downfield. So, I mean, I like him. Cowling, like we said, in that spot, it could be a nice, role where he gets 6, maybe 7 targets a game when Juwan Jennings moves on. Big slot role into a more small, shifty slot role, which it seems like the entire NFL is shifting to. So I do think that there's a lot of appeal there, and who are a few others that you mentioned just off the top of my head?
Well, Franklin was in there. Tez.
Franklin I don't like, but cost of acquisition is nothing. I want Marvin Mims to succeed. I know you don't like hearing that, Texas boy Bogsy, but I want to see that.
Well, dude,
So he's an impediment to his success. But
listen,
yeah, hey.
I want guys that are going to win me money. So if Marvin Mims is going to be good in Denver, I'm all about it. Like I am genuinely surprised by the lack of usage for him in that offense. I do understand that he is a very slight frame. He is not helping you in the run blocking game at all. He's barely getting in the way. I get it. So, you have to take him out on, one wide receiver sets or anything that you could be blocking for. I get it. But I mean, why draft him then? If you're not going to use him the way he needs to be used, just stick him in the slot. Let him run a corner off instead of having to block them, with a good route. His usage is low. And I think it's, you had this musical chairs between Mims comes out, LJ Humphrey comes in. You're telling the defense what you're doing, I feel like, in a lot of cases. So that's why LJ Humphrey scored so many touchdowns. They couldn't believe he was running a route, right? So I think that was a big part of it. So I think getting better there and getting someone more consistent, Troy Franklin, could take Mims off the field a little bit too. But he's the same thing. So I do.
It really is, right?
Talking this out, I have a little more fear for Troy Franklin than I initially did when they drafted him, because Peyton yanks these guys right out, and he uses wide receivers as if they're defensive tackles, right? That's his rotation. So everybody's going to get 50%. It means nobody's going to be great in fantasy. So it's starting to make me a little queasy here. Chris Abrams Drain and Austin Booker in the fifth.
Abrams Drain really finally going. And Booker.
Yeah, Denver. Yeah, Booker went to Chicago, who needs edge rushers
like.
bad.
Two guys are good deals in the fifth round.
They are some really good deals here. So there's a lot of there's good edge left. Like, I have to watch ESPN because for whatever reason, NFL Network isn't working for me anymore. But I know Kuiper has
cable provider. Do you have cable
rushers
or do you go with internet?
What's that?
Do you have cable or do you do internet?
I do. Well, I just got rid of DirecTV. So
I'll talk to you later. I got something for you.
Okay. All right. I'll take it for sure.
For you, put it that way.
But yeah, so I mean, this is my first week with Fubo, and it is not impressing me. I can tell you that much. But
Boggs, how much is it?
Fubo, it's like 110 a month. So hey, look, that is less than half of what I was paying for DirecTV.
Oh, so Boggs, wait until I open you up to the world of what is possible.
Yeah, no, I know what you got. It's not as reliable, but NFL Network went out here, so who cares? Do
you have good internet?
Oh yeah, I have the best internet. I
tell you what, be just fine.
Moving to Texas, the things that I like the most. All right, noon kickoffs, number one. I am a night owl. I do not like waking up early for anything at any time. So, early morning hike, I disagree with every word of that sentence. Don't like it. Not my thing, right? Very much a night owl. So noon kickoffs, amazing. 11 a.m. for college football. Love it. It's not 9 and 10 for me, which I hated on the West Coast time. And the internet options in Arizona are garbage. So I moved out to Conroe, Texas, and there is a company out here called Tachus. Super fast internet, no data caps like Cox had in Arizona. So,
all right, yeah, I'll handle this. I'll handle this from here. That being said, I do have to go. And
I got you.
I plan on being in Austin for a game this year.
Austin, okay, yeah, Austin is 3 hours away. But tell me when you're coming out, and same thing with Dallas. And I drove up to Dallas, obviously.
Oh, Boggsy, I'll tell you when I'm going to come out. I'll tell you when it's going to come out. I already looked. It's going to be one of two weekends. It's going to be Red River, which is that in Jerry World?
That's in Dallas. Yeah, that's not at Jerry World, but it is in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl.
Great. It would either be the Red River, which actually would be easier for you, right?
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean,
We'll
Saturday's
see if they give me
tough either
press
way, but
access. I don't know what kind of access I'll get. I obviously got treated very well at the Big 12 championship, as you know.
yes.
It'll be that, or it will be Georgia on October 19th.
Okay. Yeah. I would love to go to that.
Georgia coming to Austin.
Well,
October 19th. Did you hear what I said?
also, the Longhorns are going to Michigan to start the year. So,
woo! But dude,
yeah,
this is a depleted Michigan team. This is
I love it. I know. I like it.
Powers,
So,
Georgia, Texas.
The D-backs play the Astros on Friday. I'm going to that with my really good tickets. D-backs going to the Astros on Friday. Then the Longhorns play Michigan on Saturday. And I think that Sunday is free. I think that's the last Sunday before the NFL season starts.
That is an amazing two-step you get to do right there.
Yeah. So what I'm hoping is
you're going to Michigan.
D-backs, Texas and Michigan. I won't be going, but then I'll be going to the D-backs game on Sunday too. So 2 baseball games. Texas plays Michigan in between it. I'm already looking forward to that weekend. It's going to be a great time.
Yes, you should be.
But
and,
hey, Froton,
let you about the other 2 and let you know what's going on because
just let me know.
Help. And you
prove yourself I'm a great cameraman.
An exemplary cameraman, Bogsy.
That's right. Hey, look
at that Texas game.
Jarvis Brownlee finally to the Titans, by the way, in the 5th round.
Titans have a pretty good draft, by the way.
They are
back end stuff. Who's the last few guys they've taken?
They trade for Snead too. But I know you got to leave. But just remind everyone where they can find you, what you're working on, where all your stuff is before you go.
Yes, Eric Froton, NBC Sports. Every single defensive profile and offensive line profile you see on the NBC Sports ticker. It's going right now, rotating through. I wrote very detailed and analytical. If you want a look at who these guys are, you can get it there. I wrote a top 10, top 25 rankings for every offensive line and defensive player in the class. I like to make sure the D gets their love. Right. I know it's a lot of fantasy. I get it.
IDP.
I get it. But I like the whole landscape. I love it all. So I am in NBC Sports. You can also find me on the college fantasy side, where I used to do a podcast with Scott Bogman for a few years. At this point,
like 4 or 5 years.
It was a long time we did a podcast for. But now I'm doing one as well. I took a break, took a hiatus, Bogsy, doing one with my friends Mike Bainbridge, Josh Chevalier, Zach Hall, CFF All Access Show over at Fantasy Points. And you can find that once a week. I go out and wax poetic about college fantasy football, which I love. And then, be on the lookout in the over the course of the summer for just my conference previews for college football. I do like a gambling analysis, over-under analysis for every team, every situation. Once we get all this transfer portal stuff sorted out, I'll be putting those out. And as Bogsy knows, I'm fairly accurate when it comes to my college football player props projections.
Yeah, you make a lot of money.
Hopefully we can still do them. I would like.
Yeah, my state won't let me do it. So yeah, I can do all kinds of underdog bets. Can't do that anymore.
So you can't. They didn't let you do anything for the tournament on underdog or on Prize Picks.
Actually, I think I don't know if Prize Picks works in Texas. Underdog did, and I think when I initially moved here, I could do player props, but I think they are gone now. So for college,
yeah,
we'll see.
They're going away everywhere.
You get a VPN
in a lot of ways,
right.
or exactly. It just goes offshore, and we can talk.
Thanks for coming on and sticking around for a long time and talking about all the prospects. Froton, appreciate you, man. Go use them elbows. Go cover that paint, man.
Don't worry about that.
Appreciate it.
Very nice meeting you as well.
Nice to meet you too.
Take it easy, guys. Have fun. Enjoy the rest of the fifth.
Take it easy. And Kelly, don't feel obligated to stick because you're the only one left. I'm more than
you're fine talking on your own.
More than capable doing a solo show. I have many times, but please stay as long as you want. Also, but
I'll give you until the dogs get so loud that it's not worth it. So
I can't believe, I'm surprised by some of these guys that still haven't gone. Johnny Wilson, I thought would have been taken. The Broncos just took Audric Estime. That's an interesting pick. That pick I do like. I tell you what, I actually don't like it. And I'll tell you why. It's because the depth chart is already pretty deep, I feel like, in Denver. They don't have a size back. So I guess he fits a profile of what they need.
Yeah.
But Javonte, I'm a Javonte stan for sure. I'm a big Javonte fan. Didn't look the same last season coming off the knee injury, I thought. But who am I? Why? See, now I'm blanking on names.
P. Ryan.
No, I hate P. Ryan. So
Okay.
Oklahoma, first of all. So I don't like him.
Right.
But P. Ryan's fine. It's
Who's the third guy?
McLaughlin.
you go.
McLaughlin played so well last year. He had so many missed tackles forced. When Fitz and I were doing the Fantasy Pros sleeper show before the draft, McMillan was my guy, or McLaughlin, excuse me, was my guy because I think he's already at the end of the season. He already had passed P. Ryan on the depth chart, and Javonte not looking the same. Now, look, this could be an easy, hey, we get another year removed from this ACL, and he looks way better, and he's the guy that we all thought he was coming out of North Carolina, and he's a top 15 back, right? That could absolutely, but this is kind of insurance. Taking Audric Estime, and it offers a guy with size. So I don't like that for McLaughlin. But I like the fact that at least he landed somewhere where, he's not on Braylon Allen and the Jets, who is not getting anything behind Breece Hall in Israel Abanikanda.
Nope.
So what do you think of this landing spot here for Estime in Denver?
So, as you look at it from a fantasy perspective, it's everything you just said, which is, okay, so what are we going to do with Javonte this year? Because last year, I think a lot of people who drafted him were not particularly happy with the outcome. But I loved McLaughlin. I mean, I picked him up every time I say it. Is that correct? Yeah.
McLaughlin. Yeah.
When I had him a couple of weeks, when Williams was out, I liked his production. So yeah, that kind of sucks to cut in that's going to cut into it. But I'm hoping that maybe, like you said, like P. Ryan just kind of goes away. That they kind of drop him down, but I don't know in terms of pass catchers which one of these three is the best.
Javonte still.
Okay.
McLaughlin can catch the ball, and P. Ryan is actually pretty good at that as well. So.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if they take him out of rotation, do they have anybody that can take throws from Bo Nix, who I think is pretty good at checkdowns, right? Isn't that what he?
I wonder, because I'm not sure if Estime plays on special teams, but I mean that's going to matter for the third running back, because I still assume it's going to be Javonte McLaughlin 1-2. I think P. Ryan has a decent amount of special teams experience. I don't know if Estime did. Notre Dame will let their stars play special teams because Chase Claypool played special teams, all the way until he got drafted by Pittsburgh. So. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Interesting pick for Denver. Initially, I liked it. Now I'm a little queasy on it. Now that it's settling, kind of like Jalen Wright. Like the landing spot, Miami is great. It's a good offense to be in. But Mostert was so good. Achane was so good.
Right.
How do we get right touches? Right. That's the issue to me. Is how do we get him some touches there. Let's talk tight ends because we haven't talked tight ends yet.
Okay.
Brock Bowers ends up in Vegas. People are upset because they drafted Michael Mayer last year, but I'm going to remind people, and this is an extreme version of this, but remember how long it took David Njoku to be good in Cleveland? Like Harrison Bryant had to leave, and Harrison Bryant is not even close to what Brock Bowers is, right? So he was just a guy that could catch the ball at the position versus he couldn't block at all. David Njoku could do everything. So they're like, well, because you can block, we're going to leave you in blocking and have this guy that can't block go out and catch the ball.
Right.
That's going to happen to Mayer. Mayer has to be lowered in dynasty value because Brock Bowers is now the guy. And I think that's their new Hunter Renfrow as well. So he'll play in the slot a bunch. I know Myers likes playing in the slot, but you don't invest at that spot in Bowers and not let him play. So I know people don't like the landing spot. I'm fine with it. What are your thoughts on Bowers going to the Raiders?
I was fine with it because I didn't see how they were using Mayer last year as being like a productive going forward. I was big on him headed into the season. I thought, and I think part of that was just that he looked like the quintessential football player. Like he just,
Your
that was,
classic
oh my
Jason
God.
Witten.
He
Yeah,
was, he was just like this guy's going to just take over. Um, and he's going to be great. And then you watch Bowers play and it's just like, well, obviously that's not going to, he's not going to usurp him. Mayer can't keep up. So yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it because I think if they figure out how to use him correctly, then Bowers should be obviously the top tight end coming out of this class for Dynasty. But I wouldn't mind him even in like a redraft league taking kind of a flyer on him,
absolutely.
depending on how deep the league is, because
Um,
tight end can be tricky.
Especially rookie tight ends. Like rookies
Yep.
don't usually translate, but we did see
Yeah.
Laporta was so good
Yep.
last year. Made a quick. I think when you move to more specific roles for
Mhm.
these guys, like Tip Ryman went in the 3rd round of the Arizona Cardinals.
Yep.
No one is drafting Tip Ryman in fantasy.
No.
His value is going to be tied 100% to touchdowns. He's not going to be catching the ball. He's 270 pounds. He is a left tackle.
Yes.
Masquerading as a tight end, right?
Yep.
So, in terms of fantasy, these guys are just used differently.
Yep.
And that's the thing with Bowers and Mayer. Mayer has to take the hit because he's going to be used as a blocker. They're not asking skinny ass Brock Bowers to do that. Like we saw the picture of Brock Bowers next to Gronk. They're different types of humans.
Right.
Gronk is a monster. He's a
Yep.
Mack truck of a human being. Bowers is way faster, but also like he's shiftier. He's going to make more guys miss. He's not going to run over as many guys, but he's going to do it at the next level. I'm excited for him. But let me ask you this for, and maybe this is an easy answer, but Bowers or Odunze in Dynasty?
Oh.
Yeah, I know. That's how I feel too. That's why I asked you.
Oh man, that's tricky and kind of mean.
It kind of mean.
Yeah, I mean, I lean Bowers, and here's why, if I can be perfectly 100% honest,
Sure.
that it's the Bears, and
Ooh.
I am very unconvinced. Because
the Vikings fan
Yeah,
shade.
but
You hear that,
even
Guthrie? Guthrie's our Bears guy.
even that though, it's so you've been a fan, you've watched them forever, and I've just seen this dance before with regard to this is the new quarterback and he's going to be everything and he's going to throw 500 yards, be our new all-time leading passer. It's
Rattler to the Saints, by the way.
Ooh, I
That's
like that.
That is a very good pick. Sorry, keep going in between Bowers and
I was a little sad yesterday. God, we couldn't stop making fun of the idea that the Falcons would draft Rattler. We ran that joke into the ground. Yeah, no. So I think I would go Bowers this year. I think Odunze is going to be great. It's very hard for me to not see it as the Lockett Metcalf JSN situation with that trio of wide receivers in Chicago. And so how it's going to sort out again in a dynasty, I think it's perfectly fine to take him as long as you understand that it might be a little bit. And then you're risking Bowers with the tight end transition. But I feel like maybe his size and build is just different. And it might translate better.
Yes, I think that might be the toughest question, right? Because I'm not taking Bowers ahead of Harrison or Neighbors.
Correct.
And I think I am probably going to end up taking Odunze ahead of Bowers, but it's such a coin flip. It really is going to team context. If you're not doing a startup is definitely going to matter. If you need the wide receiver, take the wide receiver because wide receiver is an arms race, but it is so hard to pass on a guy that could end up being the number one at his position. As soon as Travis Kelce retires, right? So he could already be there. And Laporta, a rookie that was not nearly as highly touted as Brock Bowers, is now considered the number one tight end in dynasty circles. Laporta is up there. Like, obviously Kelsey is the guy until he goes in terms of redraft, and just until he retires, he's a number one tight end off the board. But with staying power, Laporta's one, and he came in with 25% of the hype that Brock Bowers had last year. I think I was the only one that had him in my top 12 tight ends last year, and he ends up at number one on a lot of boards now. So Bowers is so good, it is hard to pick against him. Are there any other tight ends that you like? Ben Sinnott went second to Washington. We had sorry, I clicked away from the thing. Jatavian Sanders went in the fourth to Carolina. Theo Johnson in the fourth to the Giants. Eric All to Cincinnati. Between those guys, Sanders, Sinnott, Johnson, All. Do you have a strong order? Is this something that you're just because it's tight ends? I mean, where are you looking?
I mean, I'm an Iowa fan, if I've never mentioned that to you before.
No way, a Vikings Iowa fan.
I know,
like it's Jesse Severe, who we had on earlier. No way.
I mean,
I grew up so rare.
I grew up in Iowa, so it's tricky. I feel like all is just so dependent on injury. If he, can he come back from that? Is that good? And that was a joke I was going to make. Like, if Bowers was coming out of Iowa, then that should be as clear as possible. I mean, who's this Georgia, whatever. No, I'm just kidding. But so All intrigues me because I thought he was doing really well before the injury last year. So that, comes back, but I don't mind. Who was the one that you said? I mean, Sanders to Carolina is I think that's also good. Because I feel like they're going to need a tight end that's going to catch for
Tommy Tremble hasn't got the job done.
Correct. Yeah, that's his only competition, man. That shouldn't be too hard for him to clear out. So
how about where were you on Bryce Young coming in last year, and is this the buy low? Everyone's going to say it's the buy low because we all missed on Bryce Young. We all had Bryce Young ahead of CJ Stroud. Most people did. Not everyone. I shouldn't say everyone. But a lot of people had Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. Now, different team context, of course. You go into Houston with a new coaching staff. Bobby Slowick was awesome with CJ Stroud last year. They really opened everything up. They got targets. Nico Collins took a next step. They signed Dalton Schultz. Like, they surrounded him with weapons, and it all worked. Right. It was the opposite in Carolina with Bryce Young. He had no help. He had one Mississippi to throw the ball. Yep. I mean, the run game was a disaster. Yep. So it was just, everything was bad. We are making excuses, but I feel like because of his physical stature, people say, look, it didn't work. Throw him in the trash. It's over. That's why everyone thinks it's going to be a buy low on Bryce Young. Are you buying that? I mean, they added Deontay Johnson. They added Xavier Legette, Jatavian Sanders, Jonathan Brooks. So they added weapons. It's, I don't know if you throw them all in a pot and it tastes good, day one, but by the end of the year, we could see massive improvement. Is this your buy low on Bryce Young opportunity? Or are you saying, hey, look, people want to buy him now, sell him, get out from under him, because the capital was too much last year? What are your thoughts on Young?
I mean, I think it entirely depends on what you can get for him or what you'd have to give up for him. So, like, if I can trade somebody, Zach Wilson, Jared Stidham for him, like, yeah, okay, I'll take that. Let's do that deal. But I'm having watched the Packers my whole life. The development factor for a quarterback, I think you got to him longer than 2 or 3 years. He can't be your primary by any stretch. I wouldn't sign up for him to be my primary this year at all. But that's the whole question. Like, I love CJ Stroud more than just about anyone, but are we looking at any regression for him? Is Stephon Diggs actually helpful for him? In that, I wasn't a big fan of that from a chemistry perspective. I thought they had that kind of lined up and they just gave it away. So yeah, I would buy Bryce Young this year, but I would also buy him with the idea that 2025 is going to be better than 2024.
Yeah,
But it's not going to be the disaster of 2023.
Yeah, and if you are looking to buy Jalen Carlos going here, I guess is that to Philly. But yeah, the idea, it may be a better idea to wait until the end of this season to buy Bryce Young, right? Now, if he's bad again, you're basically buying Zach Wilson, which is cheap, but there's so much shine is going to be off. And there's a possibility if he's bad again, and if Carolina is picking in the top 5 again, you know what the NFL stands for? Jerry Glanville taught us from NFL films, not for long, right? NFL definitely stands for not for long if you're not getting stuff done here. So I like Bryce Young. I like the fact that they are at least with a new regime here, you know, trying to fill the cracks because they did such a terrible job. And did you see Tepper go into the restaurant that had the sign that said, let the GM make the pick, and then took the guy's hat? You're not taking my hat off, guy. I don't care who you are. Like that is, I was blown away by the arrogance. Unbelievable.
He has to have the thinnest skin of anyone in the NFL.
He threw a drink at a fan during the season this year.
I'm always like, doesn't your money insulate you from this? Like, shouldn't you just be like, yeah, well, I'm rich, talk to you later? Like, I don't get him, and I don't like as long as he's there, the question just becomes, can Carolina improve? How much interference is he running? So I guess I would, and I'm not, Dynasty is not my number one talent, but I would still buy Bryce Young if I can get him for low right now, with the idea that it's either going to be like, yep, we're good, we'll roll with him next year, or if he has another year, it's like, well, this is Zach Wilson, he'll just sit on my bench for a while.
Oh wow, the Eagles just took Anaya Smith, a wide receiver from Texas A&M. And you talk about adding speed and a slot option for this team, because Philly right now in the slot, who is it? It's because Quez Watkins left.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I thought he was still there. Hold on, let me look.
It is Paris Campbell they signed. Ugh. So I mean, look, I thought
Devontae Parker's there too.
Yeah, Parker.
He's not.
Parker and Anaya Smith are the opposite human being, right? Like
completely.
The guys that play that position. Devontae Parker, old and slow, gonna get open, right? He'll beat the zone every time. He's smart. Anaya Smith, throw it to him short, let him run with it, or hit him way downfield. There's not going to be a lot of intermediate, I would think, to his game. So, I mean, rich get richer. This is Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Jalex Hunt, Will Smith, Anaya Smith for Will Shipley, excuse me, and Anaya Smith for the Eagles. I think that is a strong draft so far. I like that landing spot. Even this is listen to me talking positive about an Aggie for longer than 30 seconds. I did get a stomach from it. But,
well done. With Mayer being my boss, I can't possibly give Philly any credit whatsoever. So I thought their draft sucked. The shine is off for Howie, and they should just get rid of him. So
I mean, just impartial.
Yeah,
right down the line.
100% impartial, not at all giving shit to someone. He always makes fun of me because the Vikings gave up a first round pick for Sam freaking Bradford, which I'm like, that is stupid. But also thanks for Justin Jefferson. So take your pick here, man.
Justin Jefferson.
Good job on the Jalen Reagor pick. That was
how about the more recent one, by the way? Justin Jefferson for sure. Dude. Philly, the fans, they're crazy. It's just not. I don't know. I was going to go down a different path there, but I'll leave it alone.
And I got to take off pretty quick. So
do you? Okay. Well, hey, thank you for coming on and hanging out for so long. Appreciate it. Giving some breakdowns here of what you like, and again, tell everyone where they can find you, where all your work is, and your Twitter and all that good stuff.
I also just want to make sure everybody knows that the fact that I was a homer and picked McCarthy is because I got stuck between Debro and Thor at a dinner for Fantasy Pros. And
And
by the
all they
end,
did was talk about JJ
by the
McCarthy
end
the
of
whole
it, I
time.
swear to God, I walked around like a robot. I was like, JJ McCarthy is the best. JJ McCarthy is the best. So they won, but yeah. So I'm over on Fantasy Pros. I don't know what to call me. I cover all of the sports. I would do NHL projections, and write an NHL betting article every day for the longest sport in the world.
Utility
I-
player.
I feel like that's where I'm at. I do a lot of baseball stuff. I'm on Twitter at the Wonky Penguin. You can really, I'm always happy to interact with anyone, answer any questions about anything. I'm setting up a WNBA model for all of the football WNBA crossover people that we have out there. So yeah, but otherwise, Bogman, I love you. I will always come on. So
love you too, Kelly. Appreciate you
all right.
hanging out and spending some time with me talking some NFL draft. And we will see you soon. Thanks so much for stopping by. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
a lot, man.
You got it. See ya. What a day, guys. Lots going on here. So, all right, crowd. What are we thinking about these running back spots? Tell me, is Jalen Wright? Do you guys want Jalen Wright or Ray Davis or Marshawn Lloyd? Let's just start there, right? Wright, Davis, Lloyd. Wright goes to Miami, Ray Davis to Buffalo, Marshawn Lloyd to Green Bay. Marshawn Lloyd was the first guy drafted out of this group by a lot of picks, too. It was him at 88, Wright at 120, Ray Davis at 128. Bucky Irving is in there. I don't want to put, I think Bucky's more of a specialist, right? So between Lloyd, Davis, and Wright, who do you guys like for fantasy? Who's the guy? Is it Estime? Estime going to Denver is a bummer. I think so too. Chatty has got Ray Davis, Marshawn Lloyd, Jalen Wright third. Okay, interesting. Because I like the landing spot for Jalen. By the way, let me see if the stupid NFL Network is going to work here for me or not, because I hate this ESPN coverage. Not a fan. Actually, let me go to, maybe I should go to the NFL app instead. Maybe that will work. Let's do that. Let's see. CY says, I do like Davis, tough runner. Davis, Wright, Lloyd for Aaron. I think, oh, man, I like James Cook so much. I might go Wright. I don't. Initially, it was kind of shocking. Oh, Tyrone Tracy to Dallas? That's a good pick. Oh, there we go. There we go. NFL Network. Oh no, this isn't the draft, is it? Are you guys that are watching the draft on NFL Network? Is it are you guys seeing Bucky Brooks at MJD, or is this just on their app? Because I'm not sure if I'm seeing the right thing, because I flipped to the NFL app and I'm seeing these guys, but I'm not sure if this is like the secondary thing going on. Seems like the new Buffalo offense fits Davis. Yeah, I mean they need to run. They need to run the ball a lot. You're seeing the Eagles pick. Okay, that's what I'm seeing too. Okay, so yeah, so this is it. All right. Maybe I bet you, like, now that I'm done with guest, this probably is like right on time too, and I could have been doing this the whole damn time. So, all right. So Ray Davis, I feel like, has kind of come out on top in that group. If I threw Quorum in there, are you guys taking some of those players ahead of are you taking Quorum ahead of those guys, like, obviously, or is it closer? Because I do have Quorum ahead of those guys. You know, he's an earlier pick. Kyron Williams gets hurt. Sean McVay's an offensive genius. All that stuff combines for me to like Quorum a little bit more. So what do you guys think between, you know, throwing him into that group? Jeremiah Trotter Jr. to Philly. Look at that, where his dad played. I like it. The legacy pick for the Eagles. Very, very interesting. Undersized linebacker, by the way, and the Eagles took him. Maybe I can at least shut up the Philly fans from now on. We're not going to take that guy. He's too small. They took Nakobe Dean though too, so I guess I'm not that surprised. So many Kyron shares, yeah. I mean, but you want Quorum if you have Kyron, right? You have your handcuff there. Quorum is way better than being a handcuff, but when Kyron was so successful, it's hard to take him off the field. This is what happens to RBs. This is why they run out of steam and get hurt a bunch too, is because there's usually one that is so much better than the rest that you don't exchange them. You just stick with whoever's best and keep running them out there. That's why every single offensive coordinator that's ever had Christian McCaffrey says, we're going to get him less touches this year. Got to keep him healthy. And they never do, because when the game is close, you're not taking Christian McCaffrey off the field to put in Elijah Mitchell. You're just not doing it. So, I think that Kyron having so much success, it's tough, but he does have an extensive injury history. So you get a guy that we know has been a workhorse, even though he's undersized, in Blake Corum. I missed everything yesterday due to work and lifestyle, so I'm trying to catch up. Just saw Colts took AD Mitchell. They got Matt Goodcalvis too to replace Blake Freeland, their biggest need, I thought, as well as Latu in the first. I think the Colts are doing a pretty good job with limited picks here. So I think the Colts are having a strong draft. So I don't know. I'm probably just babbling on about these running backs, right? So I have it listed by team on a sheet here. Let me look at the Colts. Went with Latu, Adonai Mitchell, Matt Goncalves in the first 2 days. I don't have all their picks listed from today though. So yeah, I mean, but O-line health was an issue for them last year. So I think it's smart to at least address it. Anybody you guys want to hear about, or you do like their landing spot more than what you've seen? I think if I'm picking one of those guys, Tanner Bortolini, good center replacement as well. Jalen McMillan going to Tampa Bay, I like. Now, this is like a invest late type of a deal because Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are the two receiving options. Rashad White is a receiving option. You add Bucky in there now. He's a receiving option, right? So McMillan is down the list a little bit, but I do think, I don't know, I like him. The more I think about him versus Trey Palmer, I think he pushes Trey Palmer to the bench pretty quickly. No, I didn't see it, Moyes. What did he do? Is he already in trouble? No way, Chad. You like Cowing to San Francisco? I like Cowing to San Francisco in terms of the offense. What I don't like is that they haven't traded any wideouts, right? So it's Ayuk, it's Debo, it's Juwan Jennings. I guess Jennings maybe gets moved here. We didn't see Higgins or Hendrickson. They're like no player trades today, which is kind of surprised. But I love the fit in San Francisco, but they took Pearsall too. So it's just like, where is Cowing on the, this is way too many guys for one position if you're not moving someone. I assume they're going to trade two. I assume they're going to trade one of the big guys. I would guess it's Debo, so you pay IU. And now you give yourself options in the slot with Pearsall and Cowing. So and then Jennings, you still have two. Maybe you trade Jennings too for something cheap. But I mean, that would have to happen soon because we're moving swiftly into the through the fifth into the sixth here. So let's see. Y'all wanted to, y'all about to pay. Mayo about to make him a special teams blocker day one. No, I heard that Javon Baker has insane confidence in himself. He thinks he's the best wide receiver in the draft and thinks anyone that doesn't agree with that's an idiot. And maybe he's right. So Barrow loves Jalen Wright behind the two injury-prone RBs. So, yeah, it's hard to argue with that, I think. My favorite defensive, I think did Brennan Jackson go? I don't think Brennan Jackson went. So that's an edge that I like that's still on the board. We also have Gabriel Murphy. I don't think has gone. Has he? I didn't see him go. The kid from UCLA. Ooh, Jamari Thrash to Cleveland. That's a good pick. That's a CK guy. CK loves Jamari Thrash. Slot guy, gets open, sure hands, pretty quick, little shifty. Not going to break a million tackles, but he'll run past you like that. So, yeah, I think that's a decent pick as well. I just don't know how much Elijah Moore plays, Yeah, I can't believe Malik Washington is still on the board with all these guys. Malik Washington, 35 missed tackles forced last season at UVA. So I guess it's all size with him. Interior defensive lineman, Fabian Lovett. Did Wingo go? I don't know if Wingo went. He's in there. Marcus Harris from Auburn. Keith Randolph from Illinois. A big body guy, 300-pounder. Leonard Taylor, a 300-pounder. Justin Rogers from Auburn in there as well. Gabe Hall from Baylor. Logan Lee from Iowa is a good one. Christian Boyd from Northern Illinois got a little bit of noise. Jawan Briggs from Cincinnati is another kid that I could see the Bears investing in. They need help on the interior still. So I think that would be smart. Who are the Panthers taking here at 157? This is another weapon. I don't like Moyes. I don't really like the fit for Sanat. It's not that I don't like Sanat. I do like him. And Eric Froton came in here and lambasted me because he is a huge Ben Sanat fan, right? And I get it. Great tight end from K-State. But Cliff Kingsbury runs like everything vertical. So, you have to be real crisp in your routes. I don't know if that's his game, right? He's fast. He's super fast. But he feels like a package player to me in the Cliff Kingsbury offense. I would have preferred to have seen him. I prefer to have seen him go somewhere else. Carolina would have been perfect. Like where Sanders ended up, I think Sanat would have fit way better. So they still have Ertz. Ertz is old. I get it. I don't know. He feels like a package player, like a short yardage guy, helping the run game, block for Brian Robinson and those guys, and then goal line. So I think a lot of his value, look at Chandler Zavala in Munich dressed up in his suspenders. Oh my God. I hope they take a guard to replace Chandler Zavala with this pick too. That'd be hilarious. Who'd they take? Did they announce it? Here it is. I can turn this up now. Oh shit. Wrong remote. Charles Smith Wade. They need Panthers need help everywhere. So not a bad pick there. But yeah, so Sanat, I'm a little lukewarmish on, I guess, because I love the player. I really do. I really, really like the player, but I just don't like the landing spot as much because that offense is weird. Maybe Cliff Kingsbury has grown, right? How many catches did USC have with the tight end last year? I guess that's my question. Let me go look. We can look that up. Let's go to CFB stats. Let's go to let's go to teams home. So I think what we're banking on for this is that Cliff Kingsbury has grown in his thought process here. All right. So Lake McRee, tight end, had 26 catches, which would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th on USC. Had 262 yards and 1 touchdown. And Carson Tabaraki The freshman tight end caught 1 pass. Jude Wolf caught 2 passes. So tight ends out of 314 receptions for USC last year. And look, they didn't have a good one, right? So this is not a direct comparison. You're going to run way different things in the NFL. But tight ends last season had exactly 29 catches. That is 9% of the receptions for USC last season. So Mo Camara, great pick for the Dolphins. Good call, Chad. I just assumed this was going to be McLaughlin since you said it was a good fit, but they need edge help real bad. And I love Mo Camara. Undersized, but a guy that can absolutely get to the quarterback. Probably not going to help in the run game, but you need a specialist at this point to put pressure on the QB, especially if you're going to be scoring points with all these great offensive weapons in Miami. So excellent pick, I think, by Miami there for Mo Camara. A real good pick. Brendan Jackson still on the board there. Got 3, so you still have options. Is this wiki is not updating, I don't think. This is 159. What do we go to? 176 here. Yeah, him and Chop. They need bodies real bad. You're right. Because Jalen Phillips is going to come back. When Jalen Phillips and Shaq Barrett come back, or Bradley Chubb come back for them, then you're going to have Shaq Barrett, Mo Camara, Chop Robinson. Like, now you're deep at that spot. You're really good. They need some help on the inside, though, too, losing Christian Wilkins. I think they're going to realize pretty quick how much of a mistake not franchising Christian Wilkins was. I think he's one of the best interior players in the league. I think now that Aaron Donald, Hunter Norzad for Kansas City. God damn it. The Chiefs keep getting better. And this guy just backing up Creed Humphrey. Oh, man. Give him a little competition, too, because as good as Creed has been, he's been great since coming into the NFL, but a little shaky in those snaps late in the season. You know, probably couldn't feel his hand in that weather. But, yeah, I mean, interesting picks being made here in day 3. You guys got any questions for me? Fire them out. We have 16 picks left. So feel free, fire away. Let's see. The Bills are picking again. How about Malik Washington to the Bills? I mean, Shakir they already have, so kind of the same spot. But I could use Brendan Jackson as well, or like Lovett. A little surprised some of these guys. Jaheim Bell hasn't gone. Ooh, Olafoshoio, the linebacker from Washington, had some really good games. That's another spot that they needed. So good pick. Where's my boy Brendan Rice? Feel like he's got to go in the 5th. Marcus Ross, Jack Saint, Jaquan Jackson, Johnny Wilson still on the board. Taj Washington still on the board. Isaiah Williams. These are guys that are gone in previous seasons. So you do see a lot of teams now filling in more for need than BPA late in the round. So who do you think improved the most this far in the offseason? Man, I mean, the Bears have to be. You get a franchise quarterback, you get a franchise number 1 wide receiver. You you stuck with the secondary that you had for the most part. They added Kevin Byard too, didn't they? Was that the safety they added? No. Who am I thinking of? They did have Kevin Byard. Yeah, you get Austin Booker late. I think the one thing that you haven't figured out yet is this interior, the defensive line. I mean, you still only have 3 guys. It's Dexter, Billings, and Pickens, right? Dwumfor, I don't know how much he played last season. Coward, I'm not, whatever. I think that is the position you need next. When is Chicago's next pick? I know they don't have many, but they're definitely an improver. I think Carolina. Oh my God. But what do you if you're trading for Trey Hendrickson, what are you getting? Or what are you giving them? Right? I don't think he gets dealt because you can't trade him for a 5th or a 6th or a 7th. It'd have to be something for next year. And how did the Bengals replace him? He can request all the trades he wants. That's fine. It doesn't mean they have to give it to him, and they're not going to. So I think he's sticking. I think if that deal was going to get done, it would have got done already. Although, what is he on a 1 year? I know it's got to be, he feels underpaid for sure, and he is. Trey Hendrickson. He's not a free agent until 26. What is he complaining about? He gets 6.8, 14.8, 15.8. What is he crying about? I don't understand that at all. Yeah, it's sure they could trade for him. I just don't know why the Bengals would trade him, especially when he's got years left on his deal. He does need to get moved eventually, probably. But I'm not doing it this season. That's the next offseason because he jumps from 6.8 to 14 or whatever next year. So next year's the time to trade him. Carolina improved an enormous amount. And they still might be one of the worst teams in the league. And they improved a ton. So I think Carolina has done an excellent job. Sinking and trading Brian Burns is tough. The Chargers have added a lot here. Look at all these picks. Now they signed Christian Fulton, who I didn't like, but now you have Cam Hart, Tariq Still, Justin Ibigib. How do I say his name? Ibigib, the defensive tackle from Alabama. You add some size in your interior. Junior Colson is probably going to take over and push Dan Henley to the bench. Joe Alt and Ladd McConkey, they've done a lot of work on this team. And then your free agent signings, Poona Ford, Fulton, Perriman, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, Hayden Hurst, Will Dissly, Bradley Bozeman. I think the Chargers were a tough roster that have helped themselves out a lot here. Washington, and we're talking improved teams specifically through the draft. Washington has got McCaffrey, Coleman, Sanat, Jaden Daniels, Jerzon Newton, Jordan McGee, Dominic Hampton. I didn't even see that pick, and Mikey Sanistrell. So that class is very good. I still can't believe they haven't added an edge rusher. It's super surprising to me. What are the Cardinals going to pick here? I think it's going to be, they need another wideout still too. Is this Christian Jones finally? Or is Ryan Watts going to go ahead of Christian Jones? Or Whittington, who can help on special teams too. I guess I'm still behind everybody. It is Christian. Okay, I see it. Let's see. Guys, I'm getting real hungry. I think I'm going to wait till pick 165, and then I'm going to go eat my lunch that I have waited on and not eaten yet. So, yeah, I'm really hungry. All 3 days here. This one will be under 4 hours finally. Yeah, I think I'm gonna skip it. I'm too hungry. Gotta go get some lunch. Getting texts from my family about needing to help stuff. So I'm gonna wait until the Ratbirds pick so I can boo the crap out of it and then go. So I know, I'm sorry. You can call me, Chad. How about that? I can't promise I'll answer right away, but you could call me. It's fine. Yeah, and Miami having a good draft too here. Jalen Wright, they get Mo Camara, Chop Robinson. Big issues they have fixed. I like the Patrick Paul pick too. Kind of surprised. He's such a plug and play. I'm kind of surprised that he gets to sit and wait. But with the very few picks that they had, adding Chop and Mo Camara, I think those are really good picks. Cardinals too. I mean, the Cardinals have helped themselves immensely with all these picks. Marvin Harrison, Isaiah Adams. They just took Christian Jones, Tip Ryman. Like, they're getting better up front to push some teams around. And you have Trey Benson on defense. They fixed the secondary. They took 3 corners, all in rounds 2, 3, and 4. Max Melton, Elijah Jones, who I think is more of a 5th, but it's addressing the spot that they need a lot of help in. And Dadrian Taylor Demerson, who he's more of a safety, but he can move around. I think the Cardinals did a really good job. I mean, they had a lot of picks too, so it's not surprising to say, hey, the teams with the most picks have improved themselves. So yeah, the Cards have been doing a lot as well. What are you Ewing here? Who is Buffalo taking? God, I'm still so far behind here. Oh, wait a minute. I got the Packers moving up. The Packers are trading up here. There we go. Oh, yeah. You just said Packers are trading up. Yeah, you got it. Appreciate everyone sticking around and spending these couple days with me. Who is this? I hope it's Leonard Taylor. It'd be funny because CK hates him. Pick is in. Come on, just say the pick. Oh, so actually, did Brennan Jackson did go then, huh? Guess I missed it. I just see a lot of delay here. Oh, Jacob Monk, the center from Duke. Yeah, I guess he must have had a good RAS, huh? Chad had that really good relative athletic score. That's a Packers pick. I'm still not seeing it announced. I saw it on Wiki. 976. That'll get you drafted by the Packers. A 976 RAS will absolutely get you drafted by Green Bay. So that could work out. The Florida kid hasn't gone either. The center, Kingsley Ebukon, or however you say his name. Yeah, he is. He's strong too. A lot of good centers in this draft. So glad the Steelers took number 2. And Jackson Powers Johnson's not even going to play center, right? He's going to end up playing guard. So, yeah, man. Draft has been a lot of fun. A lot of good picks. 2 years in a row. I'm happy. So Morgan is playing left tackle. He's not going to play guard, huh? Kind of short arms to play tackle, but I'm not a threshold guy. I'm not. So I like it, Chad. The guy played well. That's why you drafted him because he played well at that position. Same thing with Fatanu. like I was upset about, because initially reading some stuff that's saying he's going to play guard or center. Even, CK and I, one of our first talks about offensive line, he said Fatanu was most likely a guard. Then we get to the Senior Bowl. All the evaluators there said, man, he's holding his own at tackle. So he's probably going to stick. And then it's, teams have their own plan. The Bucks took Graham Barton, who I think if the Steelers take him, he plays tackle, but they moved him to center. Exactly, Guthrie. Skoronski moves from tackle to guard at Northwestern because of the arm size, right? It just depends on what these teams are going to do with these players. So to see him go, I thought was just to stick at that spot, I think is smart. So what is taking so long? We're filibustering now. Okay, are we getting now picks without going to the podium? Is that what's happening? I didn't see them go to the podium at all for Jacob Monk. Monk played 12 games at right tackle, 36 at guard, and 10 at center. Yeah, that's a swing O lineman that you need. So Anthony Gould, that is an interesting pick for the Colts. I'm not sure. Yeah, and DJ is taking the jacket off. So they must love doing this in Detroit, because I know the last couple of years they said it's been real hot on the set they're on. So they've been sweating through their shirts and stuff. So Detroit must feel nice compared to the last couple seasons. So I'm still not seeing the Colts pick. I'm just seeing DJ filibuster here. Jalen Simpson, the safety from Auburn, not too shabby, especially with the safeties for the Colts. You have Nick Cross, right? And is it McLeod? It is Blackman. I'm sorry. So Blackman. So that's their second center too. Or safety, excuse me. Julian Blackman, Nick Cross. They took Jalen Carlos, the safety from Missouri earlier. Is it Missouri? I think it's Missouri. Yes. And then Jalen Simpson here from Auburn. Strong pick. And then let's see the stupid Ravens take. They're probably going to take a Longhorn. This is Whittington, right? Wouldn't be shocked. So is someone still walking up and announcing every pick and the camera's just not going to it? Or did they just show the pick on the screen? The MLB draft I was at this year, way less hype. The guys aren't going to play for a while. So, but after the first round, they had this whole roped off section of the stage, right? And after the first round, they take everybody out, or a bunch of people leave, and then like, oh, you guys that didn't pay for these seats, yes, just come get people. Come on down here. That's why I was sitting so close for some of those picks, if you saw me on the social media. So, but Ravens with this pick. And then I'm going to take off and eat my lunch. Thanks again for everyone that has stuck around this entire time and talks about NFL draft with me. It's, this is 3 of my favorite days of the year, every single year. And I know you guys love it too. So, and there's a million shows to watch. And I appreciate you guys sticking with me here in the 5th, getting late here. I don't think I was listening this morning and they said that Brock Purdy was picked at 7 Eastern. So I was like, I don't, 4 hours I can do, 3.5 hours I can do. I don't know if I can do 6. If I was going to do all the way to the end, I would have had to schedule people way, way better. Rasheen Ali, the running back from Marshall, just a strong pick from the Ravens. I had him going to the Cowboys in my mock. So a good special teamer, a guy that's going to return kicks and punts probably immediately. I don't know. Him and Deuce Vaughn, that's a good, he didn't go. He went to the Ravens. Stupid. Him and Mitchell would have been a good competition, but Mitchell, of course, is hurt. So interesting pick from the Ravens. No one crazy fell. So I think it's a good one, but that is going to wrap it up for me. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And I'll get write-ups and rankings will be done on Monday. So I will have all my rankings on the Patreon for you guys. So it will be up there for you to start all of your first-year player drafts. So I appreciate everybody sticking around. Love you too, Chad. And I will see you guys later. Take it easy.